Well, hello everybody. How are we doing tonight? I'm going to start with Max on that one. How are you doing, sir?
Man, that intro always gives me chills. I tend to be kind of like stun locked, every time I see it. It's just it's pretty rad. So I always do much better whenever I see that. So thank you for having
Oh,
me on tonight. And yeah, man, wow, what a week for you and Zaxx, man. Whew.
it was mostly Zaxx. I was just the mailman, and you had a great show last night with McKenna, and you had an awesome show with Gray from okay, get ready to laugh.
Yeah, right.
House. Yeah. You guys are
close.
yeah.
Wakazashi. It's a sword.
Wakazashi's Tea House. I love when
There
you
it
guys
is,
stream
yeah.
together. That was a great show. So yeah, I love your content. If you're not subscribed in chat, subscribe to Maxfield Von Priestley. He is very close to that magic 1,000 subscriber number. Speaking about being very close to that magic 1,000 subscriber number, Mr. Big Time himself, Mr. High Roller, our favorite Canadian, Zaxx. Apparently nothing happened to you this week. You got nothing to talk about.
If you want me to talk, you got to give me a raise or pay me
Okay.
at all. I'm a big deal now.
I've tried.
Ryan Kinnell said my name 3 times.
I know. You're
So,
like Beetlejuice. If somebody says it another time, does that mean you go away? I don't know.
No, not yet. No, I'm not going anywhere. Fuck that. Oh, sorry. F-bomb in the first 5 minutes. Not great.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It's none of these chats actually are YouTube approved, no matter how I try to keep them clean. But so we're going to talk more about that G4 thing, but I hope you're doing well, Zaxx. I hope there's not too much snow up there in Canada.
It's raining right now.
Oh,
believe it or not.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frozen rain is awesome. I love it.
It's like a Greek tragedy up there. That's all I'll say. There he is, the man with the Hobbit pipe and the most beautiful single malt whiskeys I have ever seen in the beautiful Buckeye state of Ohio. A man of Manethrin. Nathan, thanks for coming on tonight. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream, man. How about yourself?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you and I, we've been, we text each other all the time. I'm sorry to hear that your family event was canceled, but I'm happy that you can be with us tonight. So thank you.
I'm glad I'm here.
So this has been a strange week for, I think, a lot of us, Zaxx in particular, but there was some interesting news. And Zaxx, I don't know if that email came through or not. Otherwise, I can pull it up too. And originally we were going to do this show to focus really on season 1 of Wheel of Time, but some people canceled on me yesterday and then today, and I didn't want to do kind of a half effort thing with that. So, but we do have some interesting Wheel of Time related drama, and I can pull that
Okay.
up. Go ahead. If you don't have it, Zach, you guys vamp for me while I do that.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Okay, hold on a second.
I
There
wish.
we go.
I was too busy being
I
famous.
knew-
Well, that's true.
That's the pretty soon. Yeah, Zaxx is gonna be
Big
too big
timing.
for our stream here. Yeah.
Yeah, big timing. So
First I
yeah,
lose-
we do.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Zach, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, first I lose McKenna, then I lose Zaxx. I mean, you guys are just getting no.
But we'll get that statue.
Yeah. The Huntress, dude. It was awesome to hear you guys talking about the Huntress and you sort of explaining it to someone. And I'm, it doesn't sound like McKenna is into comics and a lot of those types of things. But you talking about the Huntress the way that you did really that was really cool. I think it was a great analogy you put together. So
Thanks, man. Yeah, she's something else. She's one of the few female characters that is a legitimate strong female character, and
Oh, yeah.
I love that about her. So you got to find those rare ones.
oh yeah. And the fact that she's going to Alaska to go hang out in the bush, that is a hardy thing, and I have done that, and that is definitely not something that the only thing you want in your hand is your peen. You definitely want to go there prepared for every. Speaking of having your hand on your peen, George R. Martin, there are bigger, better channels than I am covering this in their long-standing grievance with the man who can't seem to finish his book. And I found it interesting that Brandon Sanderson, who is now an instant millionaire, if he wasn't one already, from his Kickstarter, went after George Martin. And somehow this totally flew under my radar. Now, Nathan, did you know anything about this? Nathan, did you know anything about this? Did we lose Nathan?
No, sorry, my bad.
No.
No, I actually didn't hear about anything about this until you mentioned it to me before the show. Yeah, good on him for calling him out, because you sit there and want to say that you've been so busy doing all these things, and then you got upstart little Sanderson there writing a Stormlight Archive book every other year, and then by the way, he wrote 5 other books in secret.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay.
But
I mean, I've go ahead.
I think Martin has this coming because as a fan of his, I've read all of the books. Of course, I've even bought his compendiums of short stories, and I am a fan of his writing, but he taunts us with this shit all the time. And he talks about following the New York Jets, who are a horrible NFL team, but he's a fan of theirs for some reason. So he follows them. He talks about football all the time, and he kind of puts it out there. So he's way above the radar on this stuff. So he has to expect that someone like Sanderson will come after him, especially when they passed on him to work with Martin, who's already too busy to do anything.
Yeah, Max, do you have a horse in this race? Do you read Brandon Sanderson? I'm pretty sure you've either watched or read Game of Thrones, but did you have any horse in this or an opinion at all?
Unfortunately, I don't. I do own a Brandon Sanderson book, and I haven't gotten around to reading it. But I, was looking into novels like Wheel of Time, and Brandon Sanderson's book came up, and I'm blanking on what the title of it was. Came up on Amazon for me. I grabbed it, and then I never got a chance to read it. But from what I hear, he's an incredible author, and everyone's been kind of poo-pooing his success as of late.
Yeah, well, it's only because of his gender and his race that he got that a stop. What was it? I think it was 25 million as of this morning. It had nothing to do with the hard work that he'd done, all the other books that he wrote, also being a producer on a show for Amazon, whether or not I like it or not, he was. But let me go ahead and do this real quick. I just want to say hail to Punk Waddle for modding tonight. Thank you so much. Paul Wolfley is in the house. everybody's favorite know-it-all, Jaden Hamilton. I love you, brother. You know I gotta tease you. We also got Al Dan. We had a member stream yesterday that went 2 hours. Al Dan was there along with Courtney's Odd Fellowship of Oddballs. Kaylee was there. We had Blair DeBlair. We had, who else am I missing, Zaxx? We had a full house. We went for 2 hours. It's so great to see you guys in chat. And of course, who else did we have? We have Tim's Talk stopping by to say hello.
We had Brahma Bull in the chat yesterday too, in the members chat.
Yeah, Brahma's Bull, great guy. Go subscribe to him. He covers political topics that I would never do on my show, but he's a great guy and he knows his bourbon. Of course, Keely Chow is here. Paul Wolfley. It's just, you guys are great. It's great to see. Daniel is here. That's so awesome.
We've got Lyle Hammock, and I suppose Mrs. Hammock is listening from somewhere as well. So, hey there, Mrs. Hammock.
Yeah.
Hey, Lyle, and hey, little Hammock. And,
I was going to say the little Hammock. Yeah.
Yeah. Dad That Shouldn't Be is here. Son of Jockster's here. Prophet of the Dragon's here. Full house.
Oh, wow. Full house. Billion 101 is here as well. I just wanted to shout everybody out. I just got onto this topic and I was really excited about it. We also have James Nicholson is in the house as well. It's so fantastic to see you guys. So if I've missed you, just yell at me in the chat. There we go. So yeah, the thing about this with Sanderson, like Nathan was saying, is he is a prolific writer. You know, of course, there's an age difference between him and George R.R. Martin, but you know, this is a guy who is committed and delivers, and then apparently, like Nathan said, has had so much creative energy and inspiration that he's written these 4 or 5 mystery books, and his street cred is such where all he has to do is that I'm going to give you these great stories. Because that's what they are. They're not perfect. I don't think Sanderson is the greatest writer in the world. I think he's a pretty good one. But just because people, I think, are so starved for escapism, for the hero's journey, for recognizable archetypes that cross over and across cultures, that people just want that escapism. And if streaming and the big screen isn't going to provide it for them, they're going to go with a known, trusted brand and invest in it. Now, what do you guys think about that? Max, Zaxx, Nathan, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I the other thing too, I think it's right on. Sanderson has an engagement with his fans, you know, and you know whether or not you like him or not, you know exactly what he's doing at all times. You know, he engages people on social media. You go to his website, you can see. He has progress meters on all of his things that he's working on that he updates, if not daily, it's weekly. You know, so you know his progress on the next big book. And, you know, nothing's a mystery with Sanderson. Everything with George R.R. Martin is a mystery, especially the Game of Thrones stuff. And that's why Sanderson is so beloved among his fandom. You know, people are Martin's fandom is constantly frustrated. Sanderson's fandom, completely different story, and I think that's why I just looked it up. It's up to 29 million. You know,
are you kidding me?
Why.
Wow.
Nope.
Do you guys know? Did he and anybody in chat? Did he drop details as to? I think he said they're in his major world and. But other than that, it didn't sound like there were a heck of a lot of details that he gave out as far as character, story, where this is going, anything like that.
Nope.
I think I can add to this, maybe frame it, because think about this as though Henry Cavill didn't get the job as Geralt because he was a fan of the series, of the games, and of the world. And so he petitioned for that job. And in this case, Sanderson, he's a big fan of the From Software games. He's played all of them. And so he knows their game style and their world, and they passed on him for someone who, from what I've heard, is put together kind of a generic fantasy story for their game. It's nothing special. And so I think that's where it's coming from. And I think he's a fan and he wants to help make it better for all the other fans. And he got cut off.
Yeah, because that was going to be my question to you guys, essentially, was just where did y'all think that, like, what was it that attributed to the excess of or success of what? We're talking 3 million right now? Or
in sales for the Elden Ring?
For Brandon Sanderson's book right now.
Oh God, it's 29 million.
Oh, so 30 million. Okay, never mind.
30
I
million.
thought
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's this time change is messing me up too. Seriously. I mean, like I have gone through this nonsense for 52 years, and the fact that I'm never going to have to go through this hell again. They tried to pass this when I was a kid. They did. It was in the 70s, and somebody's like, no, we can't do that because, we have to torture people for another 40 years. And I'm just so glad that despite everything being so broken in that interesting diamond-shaped city that borders Maryland, that they can at least do this, So, but no, yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And I think it speaks a lot to, that's not something that isn't organic. Like that type of fan loyalty and commitment is organic. And for those of you in chat, yes, I did send myself $1. It's because we were having problems with super chats, and it's not just the stream, it's other ones. YouTube also, there's some other things going on, but that's why I sent it. I just wanted to see if it was working tonight, so then I would stop thinking about it. So,
and it's working.
Prime
it
in the
is
working.
Super
Yeah.
chat from
No.
Hopefully.
No, that's I was just like, because it has happened before. Well, I'm going to shout myself out first. Let's see. Look at this. Salty Texas C gives us $1. Thank you so much, Salty. I love your work. All right, there we
Hell
go.
of a guy.
So,
Hell of a guy.
So go subscribe to Salty Texas C.
$1. That's it.
Yeah, I'm cheap. What can I say? Paul Wolfley with a 5. It's true.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I could buy a half a gallon of gas. Actually, that's not true. It's only $3.99 on the corner here in Central Texas, but I anticipate that going up. It's a $5 super chat from good friend of the channel, Paul Wolfley. Hail to you, says something I learned. Oh, here we go. Something I learned being an NCO in the Army. Your reputation matters, and it is very easy to ruin. What do you think about that, Max?
Yes, especially like when you get to a new command, at least like for some of my Marines, like they would come straight from the schoolhouse or they'd come from a different unit, and you could be like, hot shit at one unit, and then you get to your new unit and you are, whether you're a sergeant or a corporal or sometimes even a gunnery sergeant, you kind of have to make this new reputation. All these guys are looking to you. So I absolutely believe that especially as an NCO for Army, I believe that's specialist. Is that correct? Paul Wolfley? For Marine Corps, it's for us, it's like corporal and sergeant. But yeah, the reputation definitely can take you far in your unit, especially when you're going from place to place every 2-3 years.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat, Paul Wolfley. I'm going to give you one of Max's greatest hits right here.
Ooh.
You travel light. That's handsome walk.
Hail to you again, Paul Wolfley. Thanks so much to everybody who was in the chat tonight. So yeah, it's this Sanderson thing. It's interesting with George Martin, like Zaxx talked about, like other channels have talked about ad nauseum with Martin not finishing his books. I did a video about a year ago that said George R.R. Martin was doing a Game of Thrones Broadway musical. Like that's happening. That's what he's doing besides the Elden Ring. Like how could anybody make that up? Do you know what I mean? And it's I don't know, man. Like others have said, just hire a ghostwriter. Hell, hire Brandon Sanderson to write your books for you. At least he's going to finish it. So Jaden Hamilton is firing shots in the chat, says, unfortunately, Martin doesn't care about his legacy or what happens to it. That's proved to me. Oh, and I've been told that I need to shout out Punk Waddle's new sheriff avatar, because there's a new penguin sheriff in town. Punk Waddle, love your avatar. That is fantastic, sir. It was awesome having you on the members live stream yesterday. Oh my God. Daniel, it's great to see you. It's a $10 super chat. It says, I want to be clear that I really enjoy Sanderson's books, but I find, thanks for popping that up, but I find Sanderson being friendly with the very people ruining everything is foolish. They will ruin his work as quickly as any other author. Boy, where to start with that one? Nathan, I'm going to let you take point on that one. I didn't have very kind words for Sanderson kind of holding back in November when he was sort of hinting at what Rafe Judkins was going to do to Wheel of Time. I think he went as far as he could, saying what he could, considering that he wants to have his work develop, by Amazon, if not Amazon, then by Netflix. And I think he had to play the game. And I pulled back on sort of feeling ill will towards Sanderson after understanding that. But I think that Daniel is right. I think regardless of who makes it, whether it's Netflix or it goes to the big screen or it goes to Amazon, they're going to run it through the same woke intersectional feminist, food grinder that they do every other property that comes out. And I'm going to open that up to anybody. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. It is a thin line. And I think one thing about Sanderson is he's towing that line with a bit of naivete. Unless he has some way to write a contract out that gives him an absolute iron grip on how things are produced and how the stories are told, he may find himself on the wrong end of that. I hope not, because it would be kind of cool to see that stuff, put out faithfully. But he definitely has been running that risk.
Yeah, I mean, we could say the same thing. It would be nice to see something by Tolkien put out faithfully. It would be nice to see something by Robert Jordan put out faithfully. It would be the list goes on and on. I don't know, Zaxx, do you have any comments on that? Are you a big Sanderson fan? I mean, did you give him some of that money in that Kickstarter that went down?
I did not, but hey, Snowdub, first and second, I kind of think that with the amount of money he's made off this Kickstarter, maybe he can sit back and ask himself, does he need to have his work adapted by someone else? Can he do it himself? Can he crowdfund that? Because that's a lot of money he pulled in for those books. So is there a way he can do it without giving away his world to someone else to adapt? And how desperate is he for that money that he's willing to trust someone with it? And so at that point, I think you have to say, well, hold him accountable for his decision here, essentially.
Yeah. What about you, Max? Do you have any input on this, or what Zaxx just said?
As far as what Daniel said, I think Zaxx hit that point right on the head, because like he said, he does have the power at this point to really be hands-on and allow himself to create this thing and not give it to someone else, and potentially have it ruined. Now, with what Daniel is saying, though, is I don't know him well enough to be like Daniel Sanderson. I don't know Sanderson enough to say, well, he's just this friendly with everyone, because that might be what's happening here. If he kind of makes friends with everyone, I don't think there's any issue with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he does at some point have to think about his career and his family and his all these things. So if he's doing that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think what happens is if people start trying to cancel him and he starts to apologize for things that he never did, or stuff like that, where he's trying to, I guess, appease a certain group, that's when I would be worried. But if he's just showing friendliness, kindness, compassion to everyone, I think that's great. I mean, makes more sense why his book would be selling so much.
I agree with that. I think part of it is it is the time we're living in. It is that town. It is the people in that town. And then also now the introduction of ESG scores and every type of entertainment. I have two things to do. The first thing I'm going to do is, first of all, say hail to you again, Daniel, and I am going to give you a brand new thank you video.
Ooh.
We have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world further besides the will of evil.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
I just that one I needed to edit it to get it just under 9 seconds, and I think I did all right. So, but I love that one. Hail to you again, Daniel. And we have a brand new channel member. This is absolutely fantastic. Squeak a Mouse has joined, is one of my, help me out, Wolfbrother, Wolfsister. Let me know in the chat if you're my Wolfbrother or my Wolfsister.
We're good with. I think they're good with Wolf Sister, except for Courtney, but we'll work on it.
Okay. All right. So Squeak a Mouse, thank you for becoming my Wolf Sister. This is fantastic. You have been around this channel for a long time. I really look forward to you being on our next members chat, which is going to go down next month. So hail to you. And let me go ahead and see if I can get this super chat up. Yeah, it's not every day that an author, and I don't know how many authors that are out there could just go on there and bang something out. Not even show anybody anything, just drop hints and then make $30 million. Do you know what I mean? I think maybe that's Stephen King could do that. As far as fantasy authors that are alive right now, can you guys think of anybody like that maybe is a contemporary of Sanderson that could pull it off? And same thing in chat. In the meantime, okay, did you already pull that super chat up for me?
Which one, Eldan?
Oh yeah, sorry. It's the chat is moving so fast. You guys are absolutely.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay,
there it comes.
I just want. Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
There you go.
This is Aldan. He was also in the member stream yesterday. Great guy. So much fun. Had some audio problems. We worked through it, but really great observations. He's got a bird. Just so you know, this is a cool guy. He's like Beretta from the 70s, but he's down under in Brisbane. So this is for 10 Australian dollars. Says, yeah. With Sanderson, it's a little column A, a little column B. I've read the whole Cosmere so far, and to be honest, he's starting to lean just a tad into representation recently. So an NDA equals progressive. That is an interesting take. And what do you think about that, Nathan? I've read Mistborn by Sanderson. Obviously, I've read his Wheel of Time stuff. I thought they were all right. It was no Robert Jordan. But what do you think about this statement? Do you think that he's starting to go that lefty route with his writing, Nathan?
Well, I haven't read any of his recent stuff. I've only read a few of his books, but along with the last three of the Wheel of Time stuff. I enjoyed those three, especially the last one with that super 200-page long chapter. Loved it. But in terms of the leaning into the representation, I've actually heard that. And I can't speak from personal experience reading that, but I have heard that he's kind of delved into, started to incorporate some of that in his writing. And if that's the case, then Stormlight Archive series could end with a big old thud if he keeps doing that.
Yeah, I just pulled the Hero of Ages off the shelf behind me on the paperback, and that book was written in 2008. I mean, what a different world it was for fantasy authors and also science fiction and fantasy properties in 2008. In the meantime, Eldan, hail to you, my wolf brother. Can't wait to talk to you again. Let me give you something good out of the bag of tricks.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red dawn.
That's another fan favorite. Go ahead.
I'm almost upset that I don't have my camera on tonight, just so that you can see my reactions backstage.
Yeah,
when we play the clips.
I'll totally send you these just so you can have them on your phone. Like if you're in the car at a stoplight, you can just have, now for wrath, now for ruin, and then step on the accelerator and go. So
that's going to become a ringtone.
There you go.
Welcome, Kaylee. You're here. Thanks for coming.
Hey, Kaylee.
Yeah, Squeak. Check your DMs. And Paul Wolfley, actually, I had to mute myself because I laughed so hard when I read this.
Oh.
You go straight to the point.
I have danced around this for a while, but you guys are dragging me right into this. All right, Paul Wolfley, we're going to do this. I have to read the super chats. It's for $5. Hail to you, Paul Wolfley says, he's a Mormon. Most would rather hit their thumb with a hammer than be rude. I'm going to say very true. I've worked with a lot of people in that faith, and I would say true. Very kind, good people. That's been my experience. So, yeah. And Rafe Judkins, also of that faith. Just find that to be very interesting. So here, I'm going to give you, this is for you, Paul Wolfley.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
The classics never go out of style.
So aren't the Rings of Power guys, are they not also Mormon? Am I wrong about that?
You're not wrong about that.
Okay.
You are not wrong about that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And, it's just interesting. It's, that's all it is. And once again, welcome to the Wolf Brotherhood and Sisterhood, Squeak a Mouse. So,
Are they cloning showrunners now? Is that what's happening?
Go
Well,
ahead, Max.
technically,
Multiplicity.
I think they really are, Zach. Just due to the fact that it's that committee speak. You know what I mean? Like, did they hire these guys
Yeah.
because they were super talented, or did they hire these guys because they'll say yes? One of the
Mhm.
one of the things that in the Marine Corps, like even some of my superiors would get upset if they were like, stop just telling me yes, I don't need a yes man, I need you to give me feedback on our mission or on this plan or on this route that we're going to take for this convoy. Like, we need more minds thinking about different things and different plans of attack. So I don't know, we'll see, but I have a feeling that these guys were hired because of their connections with certain Hollywood people, and this is their first gig. How could they say no? If someone tells them you are going to do this and they say no,
Yeah.
then they're going to be fired. So they obviously have to say yes, unfortunately, to most of the talking points that are brought up in the show.
And there's a lot of people who will say that these larger corporations are going out of their way to hire people who aren't fans of the property they're writing or working for, because they don't have to hate the property, but if someone's a deep fan of something, they're more likely to push back on something they don't believe in, or as happened possibly with He-Man, is the rumor with Masters of the Universe or Revelations, is that there was a leak from inside the show because someone who worked there was a fan and leaked the Tila story. So the people want to avoid that, so they want to find people who have no connection to the lore or the story and will do whatever they tell them to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. It is interesting. But I've said this before because, Rafe Judkins, the same thing, and we look at these things as fans. We're like, of course, I would make the most book accurate, faithful representation because I'm a fan and I love the lore. I love these stories. I want my fellow fans to be happy. But if you're brought in and your number one objective is to hit that corporate ESG scorecard, to make sure that all of the tick boxes in your diversity and representation corporate handbook are hit, then your metrics of success are only achieving those objectives. And the story is maybe a distant third or fourth. And again, I don't even think that's a tinfoil hat. I just think it is what it is, So, and look at this. This is from from James Nicholson. Says, if people are willing to put that much money into Sanderson's books, imagine what they would be willing to give to support a faithful adaptation of their favorite book. It's the way forward. Look at Comicsgate. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I'm going to start with Max, not because you're a Comicsgate guy or anything like that, but because your experience with comics, you talk about some really great indie comics out there, including Darklands. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a fair way forward?
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's funny because even if I say yes, I enjoy Comicsgate books, then it's we've gotten to a point now where it's like, oh, well, then you support Comicsgate and anything that Comicsgate says. So, that could be like weirdo, dudes who comment on something that's really racist. Oh, well, that's Comicsgate for you. And it's like, no, those are fringe, minorities in a or fringe minorities in a way that's not, skin color minorities. It's a fringe portion of that whole group, because every comic skater that I've ever talked to has been extremely understanding, compassionate about their work, very joyful about what they're doing. They're very grateful for the opportunities that they have. So I guess I talked myself into a corner now because I totally forgot what the original question was. But
no. It was essentially, Sanderson made $30 million. Like,
Oh,
I don't
right,
know, a
right.
couple of weeks. It is like, look at Comicsgate. If people are willing to pay for what they love and to support creators in doing it, and essentially is that. Oh, wait a minute. We're getting rated by Culture Casino. Look at these
Oh
nerds.
boy.
Well, it takes one to know one, sir. It's great to see you in the chat. Hail to you, brother.
Thanks
Love
for
your
coming, Culture.
Yeah, you guys subscribe to Culture Casino. He does the fastest 6-minute, all you need to know news show in the morning. Really funny guy. And I really like when maybe he's imbibed a little too many adult beverages and goes
Yeah.
on another YouTuber who is in the chat, Snowdub. Otherwise, he's a friend of Jolly the Puppet, who we had on a couple of weeks ago. That is a great Saturday night late adult show that I highly recommend to everyone. So hail to you, Snowdub and Tuck and Roll. But yeah, I mean, that I think it has to do, and I think Comics Division talks about this, about development of a parallel economy, about how do we fund things if we're not going to get them from these large, transnational corporations who are more interested in achieving some artificial checkbox thing, when really we just want good stories. So yeah, I don't know. And this whole conversation, this is why I love our chats. This just started out with us talking about Sanderson firing shots at Georgia Martin, and here we are. We're about 40 minutes into the show, and the chat is just on fire as ever, having us riff. So hail to everyone in the
for about
chat.
20 minutes of that.
That's okay. That's why I love my channel members. I love my chat. Thank you so much. You guys are absolutely fantastic. So Squeak Mouse says this, and then we'll probably move on to the next topic. Zaxx, I like Sanderson's works, but I don't pay much attention to him. Well, he's got that podcast show, and he's out there, and he does kind of seem like the nerd's nerd. And I think he's a legitimate talent. I really do. And now he's probably trying to play the Hollywood game to a certain degree while staying true to his own, moral and religious values. So I don't know. It's a tough road to hoe. And Lyle Hammock is in the house. This is our new daddy. I think it's week 4 now, Lyle. Are you getting any sleep yet? And of course, hail to you, Mrs. Hammock. He says, my wife loves Asimov. Asimov, that's talking about an absolute genius, developed a lot of the tropes that we have in science fiction, and of course the rules, the laws of robotics, which have been used throughout many times. So Prophet of the Dragon says, I think it's fair to say some of that with Sanderson, the thing that was telling me was that he was behind the character of Ham being a woman in an adaptation on Mistborn. I think that would suck. Well, when you start doing that, well, that's not true. When it starts being done like that for the purpose of going into woke entertainment, maybe that's what we're seeing here. Maybe Sanderson, the cover for this is going to be, well, the author changed the gender in the book, so you can't complain about it when we have that new representational character on the screen. I don't know, man. That seems really weird. Do you know about this character, Nathan? Do you know about what Prophet is talking about?
I haven't read Mistborn, but it would suck, because I don't think you should start doing that at all. Leave the character as you wrote it, because in the end, it's not enough. You have to keep going. You have to start gender swapping. You have to start race swapping. You have to start sexuality swapping, everything swapping, until you end up with, probably no white people on your in your book or whatever. But it's there is no end. There always has to be something next, and if it's not people, then it's meant like mindsets of individuals in your show or book, and it just doesn't end.
Yeah, we started to see that in Wheel of Time, where it wasn't just enough to have the diversity casting and to change the sexuality of characters and to make every woman strong and perfect and every man is stupid or evil. We also had to work in angles of neo-Marxism. So I think we're probably going to see those same types of tropes, kids, in the Lord of the Rings thing. So, oh, wait a minute. Wow, this just popped on me. Hello, Silverlock. Wow, you guys are fantastic. I turn around to sip my bourbon and we get another super chat. Thank you so much. And so this is for 1999. That was a good year and a great Prince song. I have heard BS I have heard Brandon Sanderson was a nice guy, but he was supposedly but he has supposedly said he is okay but he has supposedly said he is okay to say the truth in Wheel of Time. As a person that actually teaches writing, shouldn't he see how horrible the basic writing is? How can we trust him? Let's think about this one a second. Silverlock, you're not wrong. I just want to go ahead and give you something out of the video bag of tricks. As long as we're here, here you go.
Target that explosion and fire. Fire!
The classics never go out of style. That's all I'm going to say. To get back to your question, Silverlocks, how can we trust him? That's a really good question. He did in his second interview, because the first one I made a video about it in November, where Sanderson called out the changes that Rafe Judkins had made to Perrin, and then that it was starting to lean a little grimdark. He called it out then. But in this most recent interview on the podcast he did, he seemed to go a step farther. But I think maybe what's happening, and I don't have to like it, and you guys jump on me on this panel if you think I'm wrong, is Sanderson is not going to diss a fellow creative, a fellow writer publicly. He may get on the phone and say, dude, what you made sucked, or whatever it is. But we're talking probably some pretty big egos. And Rafe Judkins probably had a pretty big ego before the show started. And God knows we saw the tweets with him threatening us as fans of the original material with making even more changes to the characters and their sexuality if we didn't stop complaining about his show. So I think Sanderson's I think he's just being a professional and he's not saying it out loud. But we'd all like him to call it what it is, which is Wheel of Time was a complete travesty and a mutilation of the source material.
I think that I kind of agree with. Now, I'm not a fan of Brandon Sanderson. Like, I have nothing against him, but I'm not a fan of his either. And the argument of he doesn't want to hurt feelings and he wants to have his shows produced starts to look, for me, the more money he makes on his own and the more he shows he doesn't need them. And so, like, he's not a struggling writer who's starting out, who's afraid he's going to sink his career. He just proved with a Kickstarter of 30 million, he doesn't need anyone. So I think that's kind of how I'm seeing what he's saying by sticking up for Wheel of Time, when I understand he doesn't want to tank his own adaptations, but at some point, like, when does your integrity kick in? I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, Zaxx. Because I had initially thought, well, he maybe he's just doing this for PR. Maybe he's just trying to appease like a larger group of people so that he can get a lot of fans. But you're right. I mean, this amount of money just proves that he can say anything really, and he's going to have that backing. So yeah, it's from here. Just kind of where does he go from here, and how does he utilize the funds that he's been given?
And if he's being honest about things and calling things out, then there might be more people who'd rally to him as well. And how much money is FU money at some point?
I don't know. 30 million to me is kind of FU money, but I'm a simple man. I might only develop one serious drug habit and only crash one Maserati and be okay. I don't know, man. I don't need to go big time. You know what I mean? Speaking of big time, William 101, my wolf brother, one of my earliest commenters on my video going back to November and December, a longtime channel member. You have been with me from the beginning. You are incredibly generous. This is a $50 super chat. Thank you so much. One good thing about Wheel of Time and Rings of Power, it will give you guys some great content for your channels at the end of the year. Keep up the good work. Hail to you, my wolf brother, William 101. I am so grateful for your chats every week, for your comments on my videos, for you being with me from the very beginning. Hail to you, good sir. And I am going to give you one of my favorites.
For Frodo.
Hail to you, William 101, executive producer of tonight's show. Thank you so much. Just your generosity, everybody in chat, your comments. You guys are on fire tonight. Thank you so much. Yeah, Wheel of Time. There was a lot to say about the first season, and we're actually going to be meeting and recording a video with multiple people who you may know who have talked about Wheel of Time throughout the past year. I want to kind of make a little video that we've pre-recorded and we can put our observations in. I'll probably be doing that not this week, but the week after. So it's just a lot better than maybe doing a 4-hour live stream, but we're going to talk about all of our season 1 experiences. I'm going to look back at all of the episode reviews that I did and pull out like sound clips from them so we can all re-experience the hell that was Rafe Judkins' woke intersectional feminist neo-Marxist Wheel of Time. So as far as Rings of Power goes, I'm going to kick this out to you guys, Max, Zaxx, Nathan. Have you guys seen anything? Have you heard any rumbles? I mean, I'm still keep wondering, when are we going to get a real trailer? When are we going to get more information? When is that Rings of Power action figure and t-shirt line and coffee cup and replica Gladriel's dagger going to be released?
Well, I can tell you guys one thing. I'm getting dogpiled on Reddit about this show nonstop by people who are just, they can't sell out enough to defend Amazon and 2 people who've never written anything. So I'll use it as content at this point, and I would love to love it. I hope it's good. It doesn't look good. I have no reason to think it's going to be good, but there are people on Reddit who they're willing to die on that hill that this is going to be great. I don't know why they think that, but all I get is I get a lot of, this is the best one. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Oh yeah.
But this is someone who has read my comment or watched my video and then took the time to comment back to me. So like, you just killed your own point. Right?
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
Yeah, the issue with that point, because I hear that a lot too, Zaxx, is if you don't like it, don't watch it, or you don't have to acknowledge that it's there. But we do kind of have to acknowledge that it's there, because if you take a comic book and you put it onto the big screen, what is the 99% of people going to think of when they think of Superman? The screen adaptation of it. They're going to think of Superman as whatever was in the film. Because everyone watches movies. No one reads comic books. So when you get an adaptation put on something as large as Amazon Prime, you are essentially saying to the masses, this is Lord of the Rings, And so that's for me, in my opinion, that's where that argument falls apart, is the fact that, hundreds of millions of people are going to watch this show and are going to have this thought of what Tolkien envisioned when it's not. So I agree with you, Zaxx. I think it's frustrating to hear that argument.
Nathan, what's your take on that? I mean, you're smoking a Hobbit pipe, for Christ's sake. If we can't trust what you have to say, I don't know who we can trust.
Oh, you should probably trust a whole lot of other people's opinions than mine. That's all right. You've asked me for mine, so I feel bad for you. The whole... You watch the trailer. They've shown you nothing about the show. You don't really know what, the bad guy's going to be Sauron. That much they've told you about, but they haven't really told you a whole lot of other things. All the articles have been talking about all of the social stuff that they've been doing to appease the normies. And there's nothing about the storyline. And when you're trying to stand on the quality of a show by what you're putting into the cast rather than what you've put into the story, you've lost the plot. They did it with Wheel of Time. And as a prime example to that, we can look at that and say, you know what? Unless you prove me wrong, this show's going to stink. And all the rest of the Halo, they just did a trailer for that, and it's the same thing. No story. Ms. Marvel was no story. It's all, we're going to present to you what it's going to look like on the surface, the color of skin, the choices of your sexuality. That's what's important to them. It's not a story. And you've given no one who wants, like you were talking about earlier, a good story that's what people want on their
Yeah.
television. And the minute that you present to them that you're not going to give them a good story, or that you don't care about a story, then they're moving on, you know. And
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
but
look
we
at
have a
look at
responsibility to say, no, this sucks. You know,
yeah,
if
and
you don't want a
look
world without critics.
at Wheel of Time. Within 18 seconds of the first episode, we knew exactly what we were going to get. You know, and I just wonder how many seconds. I mean, I don't know how Amazon beats the 18-second. Oh my God, this is not an adaptation record they did with Wheel of Time. Maybe Rings of Power. Maybe Rings of Power will beat that. Speaking of amazing, Daniel, another super chat, $20. Hail to you, brother. Sanderson isn't a struggling author. Why should he need anyone to make his books into a movie?
Yes, Daniel.
Preach,
Yes.
preach, preach. And
I'm on Team Daniel.
I'm on Team Daniel too. I'm getting t-shirts made. You guys sign up. It's, here's where the gold is. There's even more gold. Tolkien turned down a movie deal because they did such a horrendous job with the script. Tolkien cared about standards, not money. Hail to you, Daniel. Let's think about that one a second. I am going to pull out a Tolkien-related clip for you. Hail to you. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Not a lot.
I know Max doesn't have his camera on tonight, but I think I could hear him smile whenever the Rohirrim are on the screen. Hail to you, Daniel. This is true. Sanderson is not a struggling author. Why should he need anyone that makes his books into a movie? This is a very good point. Let's see. How do we want to do this? Did you have something you wanted to throw up, Zaxx?
No, I was just going to the next story.
Oh,
Getting
okay.
ready. That's all.
Okay, cool. No, you can go ahead. But yeah, let's go around the horn on this one. So, you know, Tolkien did turn down a movie deal, if I remember right, and Max keeps me honest about this. It was in the 50s where they wanted to go a very different direction than the tone of Tolkien. And he just, despite all the money at that time, it would have set him up for life. Not that the books hadn't done well, but you know, this is 50 years later, you know, and do you remember what some of his criteria was? I think there's one of his letters, and because I'm not the biggest Tolkien nerd in the world, I don't know which letter it was that he described turning down this offer. But do you remember some of the details around that, Max?
Unfortunately, I don't. I wish I could speak more on Tolkien's life. I know a good portion of the lore of what he created, but when it comes to his actual, other than him fighting in World War I, writing most of the Lord of the Rings in the trenches, stuff like that, I am unfortunately unaware of how they did the movie deal.
Yeah, it was interesting because I saw some stills and I remember reading that letter. God, it's a couple of weeks ago, but you know, there's been a lot that's happened in the world since like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But it's true. Tolkien turned it down, and he was very, and you can imagine this, very eloquent in his handwritten script. The reasons why, you know, it wasn't a big fu from. You don't get fu from Tolkien. You get a very calm, rational reason why it would do a disservice to his characters and his story. And like Daniel says, Tolkien cared about standards. I'd go another step farther and say Tolkien cared about the world that he built over 50 years, you know, because at the end of the day, a lot of this was written for his children. And you can see in the interviews, and I've done some videos, we can see clips of Christopher Tolkien and even Priscilla Tolkien talking about how much you can see how much they loved their father and loved what the world that he had created. So hail to you, Daniel.
I'll kind of echo what Manethrin was saying earlier, just about, well, you guys have all pretty much echoed the same sentiment, but I think one of the biggest things right now is the fact that we are not taught, like what we should be talking about as like fanboys is, oh my God, was that Celeborn? No, that couldn't have been Celeborn. That was Celebrimbor. Wait, would that be?
Yes.
You know, like we should be talking about the source material and being excited about like, okay, so we saw this. So if during the fourth isn't, then that means during the third would technically, like we're having to do gymnastics about what we're seeing on the screen, which is what I love, and going through the source material and saying, what could the story be? When could we see Sauron? But instead, we're playing semantics. We're playing straw man arguments. And these scholars are putting so much work into these articles about why technically elves should be this color, or why technically these dwarves would or not have beards, and it's just semantics. And at the end of the day, we as fanboys, we as nerds, we as true fans, we want to go back to those arguments of, fun arguments of, who is that character, or what are we going to see? And as opposed to, why would they go against this scripture or this literature or whatever it is? So yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
No, I mean, and I think it was a video I put together from our live stream, Max, I think 3 weeks ago, where you were the one who pointed it out, that we're not having conversations about what you said. We're not having conversations about characters, about armor, about, standards, about crests, about these characters and how closely they represent the book. We're having conversations about race for characters that do not exist. These are not characters that Tolkien wrote. These are characters that Payne and McKay wrote. And again, these are guys. These are J.J. Abrams' buddies, And it's not. There's no tinfoil hat thinking here. These guys got an uncredited writer role for the worst damn Star Trek movie ever made, including that Star Trek movie where they try to find God and it turns out to be Spock's brother. Okay, now that took a lot of doing. I'm just gonna say that. And which one is that? Star Trek 7? Which one is that? Damn it! I'm gonna get my nerd card yanked on that one. But it's that I didn't even watch that whole movie. I took the Redbox DVD out and returned it, and I'm like, JJ jumped the shark on this one. But somehow they get a $1 billion franchise of the most important author in Western canon, in literature, in a great many ways, and I would say debatably in the top 10 authors in Western canon ever. But that's just my take on it. Now, speaking of brilliant takes, we have Culinder Bard, who says Tolkien was against industrial revolution and modernization of society and globalization. LOL. Wonder why they want to kill his work. Ha ha ha. Well, it's true. I actually did a video. God, I've done so many. Was it last week where I talked about this, where Christopher Tolkien said that the machine, as it was referred to in the book, it wasn't just a machine like a printing press or a cotton gin or the big industrial mills of England producing cloth. The machine had to do with the mechanism of destroying the human spirit and subjugating it through force and coercion. And again, if you haven't seen the full video that I take samples from, it's called J.R.R. Tolkien, A Portrait in Film. It was recorded in, I think it was 92. It's narrated by Judi Dench. You can find it on YouTube. It is fantastic. You see a young Tom Shippey. You see all of these, like Max referred to. These are not self-appointed Tolkien scholars. These are people who, oh my God, had to earn the title of being a Tolkien scholar, not just walk into a gender studies program and then put it on a name tag and get a job, get written up in Vanity Fair. But
I want to just jump on that for a second too. And I know I've said this before, so I don't want to get too repetitive, but Amazon paid for an ad during the Super Bowl to premiere their teaser, which they promoted the hell out of beforehand. And they showed us nothing. There's nothing to be excited about in that teaser. So they showed us what they had to show us, which was not much, and what they want us to be talking about, I guess, which is what you mentioned, the issues with color and race and all that. And nothing about the story. There's nothing that you left that thinking, man, I can't wait to see blank. Nothing.
Yeah. Nathan or Zaxx, did you have anything to add to that conversation, or are you good?
No, that hits it on the mark.
Yeah, all right. You guys nailed it.
Well, look at Paul Wolfley. I mean, I'm just a chimp with a mic. Then we have people like in our chat. You guys are dropping pearls all night long. Thank you. Paul Wolfley adds on to what Culinder Bard just said. Tolkien loved village life. Shocking, I know. You don't need a lot of money living like that. Remember the Hobbit? He only took 2 small bags of gold. It's more than he could ever spend.
It's a
It's
home
true.
run comment.
That is a home run comment. It's true. And maybe that's part of what they're trying to eradicate from Tolkien. But yeah, after everything that Bilbo went through, even with what happened with the dwarves and dealing with Smaug, he didn't take a lot either. You know, he had the ring, he had the mithril shirt, he had Sting, and he had, a couple bags of gold. But you couldn't spend it because we see Bilbo how many years, 60, 70 years later, when the Fellowship of the Ring starts cinematically, and he's throwing the most lavish party in the world. Like it's no big thing. And the dude probably still has a big stack of money because you don't need a lot. You just live simple. You live close to the earth. And that's why I always loved hobbits. They just wanted to live in peace and have their beer and have their good pipe tobacco and make lots of little hobbits. Sounds pretty good to me. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about the statement from Paul Wolfley? I'll kick it out to anybody.
Yeah, simple life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry. I was sipping my bourbon, or would have jumped back in, so I didn't want to waste the maker's mark. But once again, you guys are on fire in the chat tonight. Yeah, Zaxx, that's perfect. And let me just make sure that we have Stabby Sherry, or is it Lovely Sherry? I can never tell. It's Lovely Sherry.
It's the Lovely Sherry. I think back to the comment about how much you need to live in the country. That's the same, goes right back to Brandon Sanderson, and I'm going to kick him when he's down again. But how much money do you need before you stop selling yourself?
Yeah, and Punkwada, we're getting some spam in the chat. I'm trying to nuke it. And all right, I'm having a problem, you guys, with the chat because of spam. So can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, my chat just got nuked from that. So I can't see what you guys just wrote. So I'll have to rely on your guidance, Zaxx, on that one. But let's go ahead and move into the Hogwarts statement. And I'm going to minimize the chat for a moment just because it's easier to read. So Hogwarts Legacy developers fought to include trans-inclusive character creator.
Yeah.
Now we all know what's been going on with J.K. Rowling, and a lot of people who, much like Gina Carano, because their demands aren't met, are seeking to cancel an individual who perceives things from a biologically born female woman's perspective. And I'm not going to get into that conversation on the show. It's just that I find it really interesting that women who I would say are inspirations, who are strong, who don't take any guff from anybody, that I thought that those were the women we were supposed to celebrate. And I thought, especially in the case of J.K. Rowling, and I don't know if it's a urban myth or just part of the marketing spin on her writing those books, but that she was a single mother working like in a shop when she was writing Harry Potter. And her amazing rise to popularity was through hard work and writing these books and continuing to write these books and being very supportive of a fandom. And her reward for this is to have lunatics stalking her, calling her out, issuing her death threats, and just the world makes no sense to me, guys. What do you think about all that stuff?
This is about compliance. That's all that is. And she's a big figure for them to nail down and say, you better comply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, even a girl that she was responsible for getting her whole career for in the chick who played Hermione.
Oh, yes.
Turned on her. And it's just like, wow. That's I guess small price to pay, I guess.
It's just crazy. Max, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't know much about her past history on Twitter or whatnot, but from my understanding, she was advocating and saying that her characters that she had wrote all those years ago, that they could or, had the opportunity of being a different race or a different gender or a
Mhm.
different sexuality. Is that correct in me saying that? Or
Well, some of them, I mean, we got through how many movies? What was it, 3 or 4 or 5 of them before someone decided that they needed to change well, we all presumed Dumbledore was not gay because in the books, and I read those books, I didn't get that it mattered what Dumbledore's sexuality
Yeah.
was. It was a
Sexuality
story.
wasn't a thing.
It was a story about a magical wizarding school in Good versus Evil, and who Dumbledore was sticking his junk in had nothing to do with Harry Potter. And now here we are, and apparently everybody where they put their junk or what junk is stuck in them is more important than the hero's journey. And it's like, what kind of crazy world are we living in?
Yeah, it's definitely a perversion of characters, and you see it with a lot of comic books as well, where it tends to be more so of instead of this character has a story arc and he just so happens to be gay, it's this character is gay and his qualities are just I'm gay. And so it doesn't actually it's wild because when you think about it, like there's so much more to, like, one of my good friends, I've had him on the stream before. He is a gay man, and he will even tell you, he's like, dude, I'm so much more than just my sexuality. Like, I'm a businessman, I'm a family man, I'm a this, I'm a that. Like, he has 5 other things about his character and about who he is as an individual person. And then he goes, but I just so happen to be gay, and
Bingo.
that's what, and that's what is so important to him, is these other great characteristics. He's humble, he's moral, he's, blah, blah. And unfortunately, writers tend to take these stereotypes and then insert them in kind of a demeaning way. But so I don't know if J.K. Rowling is Rowling. I don't know if she was trying to do that or if they're trying to make her do that or something like that. I don't know the story too much, but if it is something like that, it's unfortunate because we have seen these characters that really have nothing other than just their sexuality, like you were talking about Dumbledore.
Yeah. And let me go ahead, Nathan, and then I need to get to this super chat.
That was me, I think.
Oh, okay. Let me get to the super chat.
Yeah, do it.
Go ahead. It's Zaxx. Lyle Hammock. Does Mrs. Hammock know that you're using the credit card? Thank you, Lyle. You're amazing. And thanks to you, please don't kill your husband, Mrs. Hammock. And hello, little Hammock. This is a $50 super chat. You guys are crazy. Thank you so much. He says, "Hail all, and I have great news. I have convinced my wife to allow Stephanie, my daughter, to have a Tolkien nickname. I decided to use the name, and you guys are going to help me because I read these names in the books, and Max or whoever thinks they're more of a Tolkien scholar, say that name."
Oof.
I know.
Ankalame.
Ankalame. That's what I was gonna be close to that. Stephanie, my daughter, allow Stephanie, my daughter, to have a Tolkien nickname. I decided to use the name Ankalame, who was the first queen of Numenor. And a queen in Quenya, it means radiant, I think. So in the elf language. And if I butchered the elf, I'm going to read this one again. Hail all, I have great news. He's convinced his wife to allow Stephanie, his daughter, to have a Tolkien nickname. I decided to use the name Anna Calamy, who was the first queen. Oh, shut up, Zaxx. Who was the first queen of Numenor. And in Quenya, it means radiant. I think it fits. Hail to you. What do you think about that? I think that Lyle Hammock knows more about Lord of the Rings than showrunners Payne and McKay of The Rings of Power. That's what I think.
4 words. Dad of the year.
Yeah. And this one time, Salty, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Lyle Hammock's comment because I said, You're gonna sleep. I'll have to sleep on the couch. And he said, "No, Zaxx, I had to give something up in return. Trust me." That's why I was laughing, not you.
Oh no, you never, dude. Lyle, if you give a super chat, just put it in there. We'll correct it. Thank you for Lyle. Gave us another $2. You didn't have to do that, brother. Mrs. Hammock, he didn't give us anything on that one. This is just a regular chat. It says I meant to say radiant. Damn autocorrect. That's okay. I had an autocorrect on Twitter when I listed the time has the and symbol instead of 7 because my iPhone hates me. I owe you a super chat, and I am going to give you. Which one can we do here? Let's do this one.
We travel light. That is handsome walk.
Thank you so much, Lyle. It's wonderful to know that there's another generation coming up and that your daughter undoubtedly has a wonderful mother and father, and that she is always going to have a nickname that is tied to Tolkien and whatever they show on Amazon. And we've talked about this before. Buy physical media, so you always have the movies, extended edition, and buy the books. They can't take that away from us. Regardless of what they do with the Rings of Power, what they've done with The Witcher, what they're going to do with Halo, ad infinitum, we still have our fandom. Hail to you, Lyle Hammock. So I'm going to bring the chat back in here real quick. Go ahead.
We got TRW 1974 helping us with our pronunciation again. So that's good.
On Calum and Calamay. Thank you. Did you get that out of the Silmarillion?
Well done.
Right. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was great.
Thanks, man. I've been practicing with Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. So yeah, I mean, it's this whole thing, and with Gina Carano, I know her new movie's coming out. Have you guys seen anything about that? And I'm not going to turn this into the Gina Carano show, but I'm pretty damn excited about that. I really am. So that's an instance of, I think, what we were referring to earlier, where if you don't go along with the message, then just in the system is hopelessly corrupted and or infiltrated, maybe that's another word we can roll with, that you go outside of the system. And I have a lot of respect for people who do that. I really do.
Did you end up watching that Hyperions movie that they released, that they showed on YouTube?
I did not yet. I spend all of my life editing videos. Yeah, Max, Zaxx, did you guys see that?
No, I did not.
Which one? Sorry.
Hyperions.
No, I did not.
Daily Wire did a live stream with it on release on Saturday, I think it was. Huh. It was a little superhero movie, the vintage 70s look. It was pretty good.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this new Gina Carano film. Carano film. It's I mean, it's been a while since we've seen a good Wild West story, and I would love to see another one. So hopefully we get that.
How would you guys feel if we did a stream like this, just talking about great Westerns that we love? Because I could talk about Westerns all night, man. Just John Wayne, Hondo, Real Lobos, Real Bravo, Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, the entire spaghetti Western catalog he did, stuff with Lee Van Cleef. Man, I could talk about that stuff. Talk about toxic male energy. I love that stuff. Yeah.
And you're getting love in the chat, Salty, for your pronunciation.
Yeah.
Oh, Punk Waddle, thanks. That means a lot to me, my fellow Texan. I sure do appreciate it. And I missed something from the Thad that shouldn't be. He is, again, our resident knuckle-rapping nun when it comes to lore. And I appreciate that. This is, if anyone is curious, if you go to the Tolkien Gateway, they usually have a section for everything on it. It's a section where it tells you how to phonetically say things. And I'm not... If it was a little earlier in the day, I would try to say etymology, the etymology of it.
You got it.
I did. I know that word. I just was afraid it was going to come out and sound like Silmarillion. So I'm glad that I just went with that one. Hail to you guys in the chat. So yeah, J.K. Rowling. There's a woman who an entire generation of kids grew up watching these movies. In a lot of ways, it was their Star Wars, And there's a lot of those young adults that I've met who still wear the Hufflepuff or the Slytherin t-shirts, and still have the bumper stickers and the the Funko Pops and all that kind of stuff. It's just baffling to me that there are some really truly mentally deranged people that go after people who actually make and create things and try to subjugate them for their own ideological reasons. I just think it's really weird. So, wow, the Thad that shouldn't be. I'm not even watching this. He says we've got 35 watching, and now it's something just jumped up on me. 35 watching with 42 likes. I think Salty has hit a new high. Well, we've only just begun, to quote the Carpenters, and for those of you who know that. So, this is. Go ahead.
So, Salty, we got Louise X Sparrow in the chat. So, hey, Louise. But also, our chat's going full country on us right now. We've got lots of Western talk going on, and it's all good. And I want to call out Silverlight for Old Henry. It's a great recent Western. So if you haven't seen it, you want a Western, go find Old Henry and watch it. It's great.
Yeah, and speaking of Westerns, even though it is a parody, and I'm going to give mad props out to Kuhlander Bart for this, Blazing Saddles want to piss any SJW off. It's true. Man, I was living in Seattle. This is 12 years ago. And I said, have you guys ever seen this movie? And it was, woker crowd, I was living in Ballard or whatever. And I put it in, and they're like, and they were so morally offended. Two of them got up and left. And then the other ones just were like, let's just say I didn't get lucky that night. But hey, you know what? I'm a man of principles, and where are the white women at? That's all I got to say. Hello, this is my show, and I don't care. I just don't care, man. I gotta. No, you guys. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. No, you gotta check this out. That video I put out with Zaxx yesterday, I got a huge warning from YouTube.
Oh,
because I showed Amaranth in the ball pool.
Really?
Think about that one a second. Like when Ryan Cannell was putting images over Amaranth, I didn't do that for our video because I was you were having it, you weren't getting hit. Well, I did. And I got a questionnaire sent to me that says, and it was 10 questions long, asking me how often do I swear, how much is political, how much is about like self-deletion, it was crazy. And I just went through it, and I'm like, I don't have any of this stuff. What are you talking about? And so, yeah, hopefully I won't get struck on this channel because I showed a G4 Amaranth bikini thing. That's anyway, that's just a little weird. It's a little weird. And yeah.
That's
okay,
very
we got another.
strange.
No, I mean, and I just, I'm not looking for sympathy or playing this up. It was just like, I never got anything like that from YouTube. It was really crazy. This is a $2 super chat from Daniel. Off topic. This one is for you, Nathan. Manamanethrin, where do you get your tobacco, sir?
Lots of different places. Country Squire in Mississippi is a place I go to get stuff mailed to me a lot. And then tobaccopipes.com. Just hunt for deals, and because it ain't getting any cheaper.
It's true.
So
no, when I was a kid,
going.
When I was a kid growing up, my grandpa used to smoke a pipe, and he'd get a can of that Prince Edward, and he would get a cookie sheet, and he would dump bourbon on it and soak the pipe tobacco in bourbon and then slow roast it in the oven. So my grandparents' house smelled like pipe tobacco and bourbon. You want to know why
that
I
sounds
like
incredible.
bourbon? Yeah. I know, dude, right? And then that was 70s childhood. Hail to you, Daniel. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, is that so? From my few years that I did get to smoke a pipe for a little while before I moved on to cigarettes and cigars, which was Marine Corps, but
roger that. Yeah.
Was some of the pipe tobacco? Is that a lot of the Latakia mix? Is that the correct term for it?
Yeah, or if you want to be snobby, you can call it Latakia.
Okay,
but yeah, there are English blends that have the Latakia in there, but a lot of the stuff I tend to go Virginias and Virginia Preaks. Okay. But there are just tons of different blends out there and styles that you can go with. So if you want to chat about it, just shoot me an email and we can talk.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Amanda Manethrin is part of a lot of pipe and tobacco communities that are out there. And you actually, we had talked backstage a couple of weeks ago about, much like with Carrie Smith, who from Unsafe Space talked about how the knitting communities were infiltrated with SJWs. The pipe and tobacco communities are infiltrated with SJWs. That's, I mean,
Jeez.
I'm not making this up, Nathan. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not quite as aggressive, and for the most part, we kind of self-govern a little bit, so it peaks in there real quick and then it cuts back. But there are just moments when it starts going like that. I'm just kind of like, I'm gonna separate it for a few weeks.
Gatekeep that good Shire long bottom leaf. That's all I'm gonna say. And
That's
Daniel,
right.
I have a video for you.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Real Star Wars. I love real Star Wars.
I'm a part of a few different statue forums that I always look into to see what the next statue pre-order is, or if there are any custom statues that are coming out by kind of niche companies, and they'll limit their size of production to maybe like anywhere from 10 to 50 statues in the entire world, and they're like these little forums that you can buy from. But on one of them, there's a new statue coming out of Mrs. Fantastic, I guess, if you will.
Whoa.
And she is gorgeous. And what she's doing is she's taking her suit off, the Fantastic Four suit off, and she's turning invisible at the same time. And while it's doing that, it's kind of showing her, goods, if you will. And the comments were just, "This is disgusting. How could they make this? I hope this good." And I'm like, bro, it is it's a piece of art. It's artwork. This is a statue. Like, it's nothing. They're not trying to make a political statement here. They're just trying to make something beautiful, and it displays her powers. Great. I wish I could pull up the prototype,
dude.
model
Yeah, dude. Send me the link to that later.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. It's and I've said this in many other shows. And I said this 30 years ago when I went to school with these knuckleheads that are the professors now. And it's like, you're fighting these imaginary dragons, and therefore you never actually have to do any work,
Yeah.
And it's like, why don't you just go down to the animal shelter, go work in a women's center, go volunteer, go read books to people in senior centers. You want to change the world? That's how you change the world. You don't change the world by telling everybody that they're sexist, racist, misogynist, xenophobic, transphobic. That doesn't do anything. I mean, especially now in the age of social media. So,
Salty, listen, what do you have to do first before you can do any of the things you just suggested? What's the first thing you'd have to do?
get a job.
Go outside.
Oh, you
have to go outside.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. They want to change the world from their basement.
Right. You have
So,
to go outside and you have to interact with people and actually see for yourself what the world, actually what cultures are like, because even if they do go outside, they're still probably in their bubble, to go to, different states, different countries, different anything. They will find just how different this world really is and how diverse it really can be, in thought, in religion and culture and anything. But
need to unmute myself. Yeah. Part of having your part of your having your ideas challenged is being able to evolve your thesis or your thoughts, and that's that's part of life is being challenged, and apparently now being challenged, hearing a contrary opinion is just not acceptable, and it's just baffling. So, Max, you were talking. This is a side note. You were talking about where you go and get some of the magnificent statues and figures that you do. Have you seen anything from a pre-sale perspective for the Rings of Power? Have you seen Warrior Gladriel? Have you seen Princess Diza, the singing dwarf without a beard? Have you seen Arondir? Have you seen Bronwyn, the single mother in the village that is his love interest? Have you seen anything related to Rings of Power?
No, I have not. I've seen like they just released a half scale Gandalf on the bridge of in Khazad-dûm.
Khazad-dûm? Wow.
Yeah, it is magnificent. It is really really beautiful. Weta has been coming out with a lot of cool
Mm.
things recently, but nothing from the Rings of Power. I will say, and I don't know if I forgot who mentioned it earlier in the stream, but you guys were talking about essentially branding for the Rings of Power, where they're going to make T-shirts and they're going to make mugs and they're going to
Yeah.
make this and that. And I now correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really remember as much merchandising for Lord of the Rings stuff as I do with like superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because it's a different audience, but I can definitely see Amazon milking this for everything that it's worth because they could just sell it right on their Amazon store. You know?
And that's where I was going with that. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
natural, perfect alignment. What's notable is that there is still no Wheel of Time merch. There's
Yeah.
nothing from that show, and apparently this was the biggest streaming show in Amazon history. Well, you can't even get a licensed coffee mug, a T-shirt, let alone what we had talked about. Oh, it's a couple of months now where we said if the show had been good, the ruby hilted dagger, the heron marked blade for Rand, the half a moon axe for Perrin. And again, they don't seem to be in the interest of fans interested in fan service, and they really either their marketing department is a lot of hires that didn't get their job through meritocracy, or they're deliberately not creating these things, which even though this show sucks, I think people would still buy because it's attached to Robert Jordan. I just wonder if that's what they're going to do with the Rings of Power.
I wish I could speak more on Wheel of Time and why they may not have merchandised some of that stuff, but didn't Silverlock is right on the money. Didn't Reacher beat out Wheel of Time for views and
Yeah.
money that it had made, I guess?
It's also much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to watch that. I haven't got to that yet.
I haven't watched that either. I've been so busy doing other stuff like that. But this is fascinating. This is again from our resident lore expert for everything under the sun. Jim Lee drew two famous or infamous posters of Psylocke in a bikini back in the 90s. He was called a misogynist for the depiction. In his response, quote, "I drew Psylocke to look exactly like my wife." Unquote.
There's I think there were four, maybe a couple more issues. You guys can correct me in chat, but there were a couple of issues that were like swimsuit issues of Marvel, and they were magazine size, so it wasn't like the normal comic book size. And you would just flip through them, and you'd get Captain America in like Star Spangled Banner tights, tidy, or a Speedo or something at the beach. And then you'd get, like you said, Rogue or Psylocke or, these other characters that were in their bikinis. And it was just a fun way for artists because each character had a different artist associated with it. And they all had their renditions, and it was really cool to have these magazines. But yeah, that would, I don't think that would ever be made today, unfortunately.
Yeah. Zaxx, I don't mean, Max, I don't mean to put you on the spot with this, but I keep hearing this, and because I've been out of comics for quite a while, what is up with current day, in your opinion, with all these current day comics books creatives constantly having the characters go to a prom or go to events where they need to be dressed up to go to a prom? I mean, I can project I can intuit that to mean a lot of different things about stunted development and where they're at in life, but why is this just a trope that's popular, or is this been radically overstated as far as how often it's occurring?
I think one of the things is just it's easy. Look at all the shows that we've watched. It's sitting and talking, it's walking and talking, it's eating and talking, and it's more talking and talking. And so that's what you can tend to do that in these books where, X-Men recently had what was called the Hellfire Gala, which was the red carpet event of the season. So instead of a crossover event or a crisis level event of like, I don't know, who knows? Like Doctor Strange has
Yeah.
opened the multiverse, and now all these things are coming through, and the Avengers have to take them out. It's the X-Men have to go to the gala dressed up as their favorite, in their favorite dress or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's just, or for a lot of writers, it's just easier. It may not sell more, but it allows them to not have to think about, okay, what
Wow.
action do we need? What plot points do we need to hit here? They can just kind of have everyone in a room sitting, talking, and eating or whatnot.
That
So,
makes absolute sense. That really
yeah.
does make absolute sense. I mean, you don't have to worry about the mechanics and the action.
Mhm.
Yeah, people are just sitting there with a martini and their pink fur stole, and that's Wolverine that I'm talking about, right? So,
Yeah.
speaking of wonderful people, Thunder Sensei 150, she's always in our chats every week. Hail to you. It's great to see you. This is a $4.99 super chat. Says, of course, no Wheel of Time merch. You can't milk a turd. It's true, but boy, they can keep spinning that turd. They can keep saying about how this was the most watched show in streaming, and keep throwing all those numbers out there. I don't know who's going to be watching season 2 other than people like me making multiple videos of this and draining my bourbon supply. But you are not wrong. Season 2, we're going to get into it in the video when I'm going to get all these people that I know that also like to talk about Wheel of Time, besides Prophet of the Dragon and besides Man of Manethrin, who will be part of it in Zaxx, is they want to add. No, dude, you're a given. You're not an afterthought. Dude, you're the guy behind the guy, Zaxx. I mean, you're Mr. Big. Let's be honest.
Can I interrupt for quickly?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Good night, Lyle Hammock and Mrs. Hammock and Little Hammock.
Thank you to all the hammocks. Yeah, thank you guys, and great to see you. Have a good night.
Good night.
And with the departing of the hammocks, I think I may need to depart as well here pretty soon, if that's all right with you guys.
No, I appreciate it. I know you had to leave early tonight and you stayed a long time. Thank you, Max.
Of course, man. Hey, my pleasure. Anytime I get to hang out with you guys, and chat has just been so great that I haven't wanted to leave because I'm reading, even even Squeaka, saying about the context of, maybe it was an analogy for people who want to get out but can't get out, and so they immerse themselves in the comic books of the gala and stuff like that. Everyone has just been on point tonight. Hammock giving a nickname to his daughter and everything. So
it's amazing.
I've just been enthralled with your conversation and with the chat. So, but unfortunately, I do have to take off. So.
Max, please shout out your channel. I know you're really close to 1,000. What do you got coming up this week? Where can people find you?
You can find me at MVP Mike Victor Papa for some of you military gents and females out there. Maxfield Von Priestley is the full name. And hopefully, if I can do this correctly tonight, I will be able to have a video out tomorrow of one of my favorite authors. He just released the title of his new book that's coming out in June. And so I'm really excited to see that. So I'll be going over that comic book and what he should be, what we should expect from it. So I'll be going over that tomorrow. And it's a wrestling comic book. So who doesn't love like WWE wrestling and stuff?
Oh,
cool.
Dude, awesome. That's outstanding.
Yeah, it'll be cool. But that's really all I have coming up as of late. But yeah, for everyone viewing, thank you so much for being here. Have a fantastic St. Patty's Day this Thursday.
Oh, cheers. Same to you, sir.
Yeah.
I hope that you don't run out of beer and you have a good time. So,
yeah.
Max,
do you guys have any plans for St. Patty's Day? Or are you guys just hanging out, maybe watching some streams?
I'm going to be making my famous corned beef and cabbage and having a couple drams of even though it's not Irish, I'm going to have a couple drams of a fine Ela afterwards. So, yeah.
Nice.
Well, I want to say goodnight, Max, and may your silkies always stay in place.
You know what's funny is with those silkies, nothing really stays in place. They are you are not You are not supported whatsoever.
So that Allman Brothers song, "Ramblin' Man," was
Yeah.
yeah, totally true. Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
Max,
don't get too worked up where you start getting the hungers for the crayons.
You know, I think I had my fair share while I was active. I mean, that was what they fed us. We had nothing else. We loved them so much. So every now and then I go to Walmart and I get a hankering when I see him there. But yeah, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll treat myself to St. Patty's Day crayons, some green crayons. Who knows?
Back to school is a tough time of year, hey Max?
Yeah. Everyone's stealing my food. I don't know what's going on. It's always sold out. But.
Well, Aaron Gobrock and Max, it's wonderful. Thanks for being on tonight. I hope you have a good evening. I look forward to your video tomorrow. I'm really excited about that. Everybody, if you have not subscribed, please go subscribe to MVP Maxfield Von Priestley. One of the coolest people I've ever met on YouTube. Has great shows on his own. Give him some love. Make sure and show up to his chats with McKenna. And he also does a comic book show with Gray Wakazishi Tea House. So close enough. So thanks a lot, Max. I hope you have a good night, sir.
Thank you, guys. You too. And I will look forward to talking to you all soon. And one more time, just hey, congrats on the success to all of you guys. I'm watching everyone's channel grow here, and it's so rad to see that. So, but with that, I shall take my leave, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks again.
Bye, con Dios. See you
later. Take care, brother.
Bye, guys. Take care.
What a good guy.
Yeah.
Maxfield Von Priestley. He's a good guy.
I think I cut you off in the middle of Thunder Century's super chat, didn't I? I did.
Yeah, probably. You do that a lot, Matt.
I do. You know? I know.
That's okay.
Have a meeting. Have to have a meeting.
No, that's all right. We'll just. But I think I hit. Did I give her a video on that one? I think I did. If not, we'll just do. We'll have it tag on with ours. So Thunder Sensei 150. Hail to you, my wolf sister. It's so great to have you here tonight. And so we got a $2 super chat from Matt R, who says, "I finally caught a live stream. Hail to you, Matt R. Thank you so much. We're glad you're here. You leave great comments, and I really appreciate those and the thumbs up for the videos. Let me give you something. Let's do this one.
We have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world further besides the will of evil.
I was watching Two Towers today a little bit. Sometimes you just need an emotional and spiritual palate cleanser, you know. And I go and I'll watch 20 minutes or half an hour of the Two Towers or any of them and just feel better. You know, feel better about the state of the world. So hail to you, Matt R.
I finally got the 4K version of that and watched it. Oh man, going from the old DVDs to that. Oh, it's such a great watch. Great $80.
Yeah, I just have the regular Blu-rays. I don't have the 4K, but I was blown away by those. I can't even imagine how good those 4K ones look. So,
it's amazing.
This is look at this chat. You guys are absolutely on fire tonight, and I'm doing my best to keep up with it. But yeah, what's next on our agenda? We're coming up. We're at an hour and a half. I figure we'll probably go 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. What are you thinking, Chatter? You guys want to hang out a little bit? You want to maybe pour yourself a cold one, kick back, and listen to the melodious strains of Mana Manethra, myself, and Zaxx. We're so glad to have you here, by the way. So
it's the worst ASMR ever.
I've had some accidental ASMRs this week, but the chat, you guys, you've helped us so much with what we've been doing, especially the comments. Even any kind of comment you leave on any video, even if it's a thumbs up or a go F yourself, whatever it is, those really help. And I've learned that now recently that they really do. More people will see your stuff if you get comments on it. And so thanks guys for that. We couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. And I learned that when my channel started to take off, and it was really those thumbs up in the comments really helped the video get seen and recommended to other people. And you know, I'm not at 2,000 yet. I'm getting close. Zaxx is going to be at 1,000 soon. Maxfield Von Priestley's getting real close too. So those thumbs up and those comments really help. They really do. So thank you for the ones that you give us, and thank you so much for this awesome chat tonight. As usual, I had about 20 things on a sheet of paper that we had for the show. I think we got through 2 of them. And you know what's great about that is you guys in chat are so much more fun and creative than I am trying to put the show together. So you make our Tuesday evening. They really do.
We've got Nick Cage at the plate. If you wanted to cover that one, or do you want to cover something else?
Why don't we let's go ahead and what's the next thing we have? How about talking about some of the G4 stuff? Maybe we could close. What do we got there? Yeah, maybe why don't we talk? I think a lot of people maybe want to know a little bit more about the G4 stuff. You have been putting up videos now. Unfortunately, because I have received what I would appear to be a very strong warning from YouTube, I cannot show you the gender studies frosk things that they would hate images for a while, because I value my channel. But in all of this, Zaxx, we did a video yesterday talking about this, but what else have you uncovered as far as this G4 hypocrisy? And is there anything of note that you think people should check out? And if it's not your video, then even out there that's on another link somewhere.
Well, definitely go check out the videos I have up on my channel. I can add to that, but I've done a little bit of digging on it, and it looks like Frosk has been shuffled off to G4 Esports division, which is like an offshoot side of their new rebranding. So she's kind of being pushed off the X-Play brand, but I can't imagine they'd ever fire her because that's really bad press at this point. So I would expect they're going to push her to the side, let her do League of Legends again, which she's done before as a commentator.
Oh. So that's where Frosk is. That's where Frosk is. She's not at the bottom of that decomposing at the bottom of that ball pit like we talked about. Okay.
She might be. Well, she might still be. She'd like to be at the bottom of the ball pit, probably. Yeah.
Oh,
she'd prefer to be there, but I think they're pushing her out, and but they went full 180 with this stuff, and I don't really care either way. But they tried to get back to the old G4, but it's not something you can just naturally start with. You kind of have to get there. And so it was a weird turnaround, I think.
Yeah, it was such a stark departure. And I just want to shout out Kulinder Bard, because this was a person who was with me from the beginning when I started covering Wheel of Time. It says, I was getting hammered. Salty was getting hammered from the first at Wheel of Time. It's very true. I actually made a video about all the names I was called. I'm 52 years old, and I was apparently an incel, and I had to look up what that. I had to look at what that word meant, because I was like, "Wait a minute, what? Okay." And then, of course, I'm a misogynist. I'm a racist. I'm afraid of strong female characters. I don't like diverse people. Every idiotic thing that's going to come off of Twitter, and whatever istophobic, word salad they're going to throw at me, and it was just over. It was just over a fantasy TV show. And that's when you know that they're not fans. That's when you know that these are tourists. These are woke tourists that are looking to come in and to capture and control your fandom. And I think we're going to see a more coordinated effort on that on the Rings of Power. I've made a couple of videos about the Rings of Power. I had a really big one that blew up on me. I think I'm at 37,000 views on that one. I think it was from 2 weeks ago. And the comments, I always leave the thumbs down on it, so you guys could see it if you wanted. But that even that 37,000K view is still at 97% upvotes. So I would say that the active attacking of people who are going to be against what Amazon is doing to Tolkien's world hasn't started yet. If I were to make a prediction as to when that would start, I would say once we get a full trailer, and then inevitably once the professional reviews, like Variety, Hollywood Reporter, other things like that, Rotten Tomatoes come out. If there's anyone who steps out of line and says that this is garbage and you make a video about it, that's when you're going to be attacked. And I'm putting all of my money on that one, just to be honest on that. So.
But here's what happens though. When you get attacked like that, you look around and you see who's still standing next to you, and you can trust those people, right? And you got just rolled over. They tried to take you out. And
Oh, I laughed at that, man. I've been in corporate America for too damn long. It's like you kids got to do better than that, you know. You
But they
guys got to nuke
tried.
me from. Yeah, they tried. I didn't care. It's just like, okay, but that's what brought the fire in my belly back to being a YouTuber. That's when I
Yeah.
knew it was onto something. And yeah, I'm glad that I stuck with it. Look at this. This is from the Thad That Shouldn't Be. It says, the best thing about the G4 situation is it reminds us to go back and watch, you're not wrong, the old videos of a true goddess among us, Olivia Munn, who also played Psylocke. Oh, the Thad That Shouldn't Be. This would be a
Yeah.
very sad world without your wisdom. What do you guys, I mean, like Nathan, Zaxx, were you guys into the original G4? Because I like saw it a little bit, but it wasn't my thing. I wasn't all into that type of scene.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. It was a bit. I'm a bit past that in the generational thing. I guess. I would hear about it occasionally, but then again, I also am more of like a borderline paying attention to all of the quote unquote nerd stuff. So I wasn't totally into it, but when I went back and looked at some of that stuff, I'm like, oh, it's probably a good thing I wasn't into that back then. It just would have ruined me.
I was balls deep into it back then.
Whoa, balls deep.
Yeah, balls deep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was,
she.
yeah, she loves it. But I was, it was the thing that was always on in the background. So if I had something else to do or I'm working on something, I'd always have it on. So, or PVR it. And so it wasn't a show that you didn't have to pay attention to it all the time. You could leave the room and come back and not miss much normally. And they had some good talent on there. They did some cool stuff. Like X-Play used to do special episodes. They did like a zombie one out of nowhere, which is they instead of doing a review show, they got attacked by zombies, stuff like that. It was fun, light, and all this stuff with G4 they did that was super sexy, which was fun. I like that.
Yeah.
But it was like organic. It wasn't forced, and it was people that you already kind of knew. And Olivia Munn had fun with it, and you knew she was having fun with it. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't weird. Yeah. This is weird.
Yeah, what you could tell. I mean, I've seen some of those highlights, and I did see some of when she was on because I'm a man and I like women, so of course I'm going to watch that. But it's true, and that was the thing about that whole scene with Frosk and get him Frosk, and it's weird. All of that was artificial. I mean, it really was, and that's why all of us responded to it the way that we did, and not just those of us who are running this fellowship who are in our fandoms. Normies who saw that would be like, "What the hell is this? Like, this is gross. This isn't real." I mean, every little bit of it was staged and run through an algorithm, and that's why it didn't work. It was horrifying. But
right. And it goes to show that very thing, because the person that they brought on to try and flip their own script was the person who sold her farts in a jar online.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amaranth to me is still the horse head with her butt in the air with that horse head hitting the microphone. And that's when I took a long look at my own YouTube, my own streaming career as a creative. And I said, I think maybe I'm doing this wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Not everybody could be Amaranth, but I should probably just put a unicorn head on and like ASMR belch and do something. Apparently that's what the kids like these days. They don't want lucid, funny commentary.
No. And there's people that came out of that system before, like Chris Hardwick as well, who went on to do some, decent things. So they had talent. There was people there that liked, and I like the interviews after. The reason I saved all those interviews and podcasts is because, like, those people all liked what they did there. They had fun at work, and you could see it. And right now, G4 is no fun zone, and I just can't stand Adam Sessler most of all now. Some of the stuff he said is unbelievable, and anyone else should be canceled for that stuff. And he's just, I guess he's okay for now, but also Frosk. I don't have any real sympathy for her, I wouldn't say, but that was a script that was written and that was approved and that everyone there knew she was going to read. And I don't know how somebody there couldn't say, this is probably a bad idea. Maybe let's not do this. But they did it, and now here they are. So they're kind of, it was a team screw up, I think. Later, Squeaka.
Yeah, it's an overcorrection, big time, and they got showed up for it.
Let's attack our fans, they said. Squeaka Mouse is going home. Good night, Squeaka. And then for me now, it's I'm looking through some of the stuff they're trying, and that show that they had her in the ball pit on, that was a show where this is a new show from a Twitch streamer, so it's more of a Twitch style show. And I don't know much about Twitch, but it's more of a variety 70s cheesy show, and it's not really fun. I don't really find it funny. It's maybe better than what they had otherwise, but it's nothing close to what the old G4 used to be. They had a Sarah Underwood who was in Playboy, but she was also a cosplayer. She was easy on the eyes. I'm a big Candace Bailey fan. There's a lot of them. Morgan Webb. It was a great team. But now, Blair Herter is VP there. And he was on TV back in the day as talent. He's married to Jessica Chobot. And he's gone all gloopy too. So there's something in the water, I think, in San Francisco.
Yeah. And what bothers me with this stuff, it's like they want to sit there and say, like for what Frost was saying, they weren't there to be easy on the eyes. And the problem with that is they absolutely were. They knew it. That's what they were selling. And it's not just that G4 was selling it. It was Olivia Munn selling it and all the rest of the ladies that were on there afterwards. They were totally on there for selling it. That was their role that they were willingly playing. And so when you sit there and score, taking advantage of for watching that and saying, hey, you know, that's what we're used to with G4, you completely, absolutely alienate everybody, because that was G4's purpose with them, and not in a necessarily sexist or misogynist way that they want to sit there and say, like what they did with Amaranth.
Yeah.
It was part of their entertainment package, and now it's just a whole bunch of garbage.
Well, and I wanted one more comment about Blair Herter. I followed him on Twitter, and he took family photos of their vacation this summer. And I don't want to put a man's family into this, but they were posing for pictures 6 feet apart with masks on outside. His family. They live in the same house.
The power of the virtue signal in mass. Something.
Can you imagine?
It's just like getting COVID and then secluding yourself in a room that's a part of a house that has central air.
Yes. Well, see, there you go with your hate facts, and it's obvious that Nathan, you don't believe the science. Let me just do this real quick to change the topic overtly. So we have Gray in the house. He's going to be on the show on March 29th. Did a great stream with Max the other night. One of my favorite guys to go to with comic books. He's also, I just found this out, he posted a link. He's also into the works of Terry Pratchett. So go check out, you say it, Zaxx,
Wakazashi's Tea House.
Wakazashi's Tea House. She's just saying, hey, hail to you. We love you, Gray. We can't wait to have you on the show again. So
are you Genki? Are you good?
Are you Genki? Are you Genki, Gray? Are you good? He's a wonderful, eloquent, really fantastic YouTuber. Very chill stream. So hail to you, sir.
He put out a book review today, though, which no matter how many times I clicked it, it didn't play. But I found out later it was just written, so I can't do that.
Yeah. The Thad that shouldn't be is keeping us accountable, and this is one time I'm really happy about that. He says, it's not so much that Olivia Munn was willingly playing a role. She is really awesome. I know it is hard to believe, but she is authentic as far as we can tell. It's true. You can tell when people are faking it. Now, there are people who are good at faking it, but she was having fun, and maybe she liked the attention. Our good friend Nick McCabe is in the chat. We're going to have him back on the show. Nick, you're going to be part of that star-studded Wheel of Time thing that I'm putting together, where we're going to record bits and talk about season 1 and what we're afraid of for season 2. Hail to Nick McCabe. Go check out his work. Him and Sam McCabe make great things. And maybe someday I'll get Sam McCabe on the show as well, just to cause strife between the brothers. So hail to you, Nick. It's great to see you in the chat. Yeah, this is, you guys, this is one of my favorite things that happen on this show, is when your comments they prompt us, they feed us, we just keep going. This show is so much fun, and I thank you for that. Holy cow. We have Nico Glock in the house. This sends a $25 super chat. Thank you, Nico Glock. Says, small donation from a fellow Cotton Connection friend. Hashtag cancel Charlie. Oh, I am in that Twitter group, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of adult themes that get passed around in there, and I spend a lot of time equally parts horrified and laughing my butt off. Nico, you're the best. Thank you so much. I am going to give you something out of the bag of tricks for you.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Hail to you, Nico. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that super chat. It's a great group of people over there in the Cotton Connection, and with Snowdub, and of course Floral Under a Rock, who's a good friend of this channel. Hail to you. It's great to meet these wonderful people who make very different content and are genius at doing it. So hail to you guys. And let's see, we've got another comment from Daniel. He says, I'm really excited for more Wheel of Time content. The show died 5 seconds after the season ended, but I still enjoy the dissections. It's true. I think, to me, it died 18 seconds into the first episode. It's funny. I've started to hear other people talk about Star Wars and Halo, and when is the bait and switch going to happen? And for those of you who have been hanging with me from the start with Wheel of Time, I said episode 3 was where the bait and switch happened. That's where you could tell Rafe Judkins and the showrunners for this 15-book series, they could only be bothered to kind of pretend this was going to be Robert Jordan's world for 2 episodes. And then in the 3rd episode, they're like, we can't be bothered with this. We have too much agenda, too much women power, and too much intersectional feminism to push. So what's really crazy is the stuff I'm reading about Halo. And for those of you who have been part of my chats for a while, you know how I feel about Paramount and Halo, because they actually nuked one of my live streams a couple weeks ago for showing 18 seconds of a video that was a trailer. It is interesting to see.
Who showed the video?
Ahead, Zaxx.
Who showed the video?
That would be you, Zaxx.
Yeah,
but
that
I was
would be
taking
me.
one for the team. Yeah, it would be.
You don't have to do that. And Six is here. Hey, Six.
Hey, Six. Yeah. So the thing with that is now we're starting to get some of these reviews where in you could literally take the name Halo off of some of these reviews and put Wheel of Time on it, or The Last Skywalker, or Cowboy Bebop. It's all of these things are starting to align. Now, Zaxx, let me kick that out to you. Is there anything coming on the horizon that you have hope for? Anything that you're seeing on the big screen or the small screen? Because I want to give people some hope and something to look forward to as far as shows that you might be excited about or that your kids might be excited about.
I got some hope for Moon Knight. Maybe I'm wrong to have hope for that, but I do. I think that so far, from what I've seen, from what they showed us, it looks like it could be entertaining, and they're giving it their best. So I'm hopeful for that. So's my kid. He wants to see that. I'm watching From right now, which is a show that most people probably haven't heard of, but it's on a network called Epix, which I don't think anyone has. But it's very good. It's very spooky, supernatural. I would recommend checking that out. It's, I think, episode 5 or 6 right now is out, but I've been enjoying that.
What about you, Nathan? What are you looking forward to? Is there anything that's on your radar, anything that your kids are interested in that even though you don't like, you want to maybe call attention to?
I don't know. I mean, I'm so tired of all everything. It's almost like what I'm looking forward to listening or watching is whatever I end up putting in my DVD player. You know, it just I've been so detached, willfully detached from anything new because I'm so jaded with everything that it's like, okay, I'm you know, I'll watch some of the stuff. I don't have Paramount Plus, so thankfully I'm not going to be drug into the Halo stuff. I'll watch the reviews and everything, you know, but I'm Disneyed out. I'm Marveled out. I'm all of that. It's just forget it.
Speaking about being out, we now have an opening for that show on March 23rd. It was going to be Wakazishi's Tea House, but because he said he liked the Wheel of Time's TV series, we're going to have to find a new guest. Oh, wait a minute. He says, Then I read the second book and I realized the big differences. So yeah, it's true. And that's one of the things that we've talked about in innumerable live streams is I keep saying to people, please go read The Eye of the World. Please go read book 1 of Robert Jordan. You will immediately understand that this is not hyperbole. This was a man who built a world. Tolkien was his inspiration. It's a pretty damn strong, good first book. And it just goes off from there. It just gets amazing and keeps going. And it really doesn't slow down until probably maybe book 6. It's an amazing series. So hail to you, Gray. I'm glad that you're getting the actual Wheel of Time story, not Rafe Judkins' insanity of whatever kind of thing that he's doing. So yeah. You guys, we have gone about 2 hours. We still have 31 people in the chat. What did we want to cover? Was there anything on that tear sheet that you guys wanted to do, or do we want to make it an early night tonight?
Well, Nicolas Cage apparently has a movie that's going to be good. It's got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's do that one.
Let's do that one real quick.
Some Nick Cage love.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I'm hoping, if you can zoom in a couple times. So the reason why I wanted to call this one out was before we get into this article, well, here's the thing. Nick Cage has, I don't know how many ex-wives. So let's be honest about this. Nick Cage needs the work. He's got a lot of bills to pay, and we all know his financial challenges that he had and how many castles he owned and all those things like that. Well, he's got a new movie out. So my first question to you guys was, did you guys see that movie Pig? Is that the name of it, where it was supposedly just crazy? Did Zaxx or Nathan, did you guys see that movie? Anybody in chat see that movie?
I didn't see it. I wanted to see it. I thought about it, but I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I guess I'll go look for it. I mean, it just didn't seem like my thing. Now, I love Nick Cage being crazy. I do. And as I brought up, one of my guilty pleasure 80 movies, it was on another channel, was Moonstruck, where Nick Cage he's absolutely fantastic. That movie's from 1987. He plays this great guy who lost his hand to a bread slicer and lost his girl. It's a great story. It's perfect. Nick Cage. And you can name just about anything else. Raising Arizona that he's done. Of course, Leaving Las Vegas with Elizabeth Shue, which was completely heartbreakingly real. But now we've got this other movie out, Zaxx, and I can't see it because it's a little small chat. I'm going to move you guys to the side real quick. Oh, yeah. This is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It is, and so why we're talking about this is it lands a rare 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes after the South by Southwest world premiere. Now, again, we could point out the fact that Rotten Tomatoes is a shill site, and usually if Rotten Tomatoes has a high score, we're probably not going to like it. But in this case, I don't know. What are you guys thinking about this? Have you guys seen the trailer for this movie? You've watched it at all? I watched the trailer. I think it's kind of interesting. Anybody in chat, have you guys heard about this, or are we kind of breaking this news to you guys here now?
Is this the movie where he plays himself?
That's kind of what it looks like,
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. And I just talk about an interesting cat. Didn't he name his son Kal-El? And there's this whole thing of he was originally supposed to play Superman back in the 90s, but the production got shot down. And there were rumors for a while. I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but somebody was, saying that he was going to be in one of the DC multiverse movies, that in an alternate universe, Nick Cage was going to be one of the Supermans. Now, I don't believe anything that I hear from anybody anymore about Marvel or DC, but I would say it would be a stroke of genius to have Nick Cage actually be Superman in one of these alternate universes. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Now, maybe I'm crazy for that, but I don't know. Where are you guys at with Nick Cage? Do you guys care about Nick Cage anymore? Do you just have fond memories of him? Like, where are we at with Nick Cage?
I'm at a fond memories, and I wish him the best of luck kind of a place with him. I enjoy some of this stuff, but yeah.
What was your favorite performance? Sorry, hold on to that thought, Nathan. Zaxx, what was your favorite performance by him?
Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
That's the one for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm about the same on that perspective with him. Last thing I watched with him probably was Kick-Ass, which was silly entertainment, whatever. Unfortunately, one of my big regrets is that I have not seen Raising Arizona yet, and I need to watch that
It's a
because
very worthy,
it's
very worthy.
yeah,
It's a
and I
great,
think probably
great
the hang up on that is because it's Nick Cage. Like why I haven't pulled that trigger for whatever reason, I don't know, but it just there's probably Face Off maybe is too
Oh yeah.
influential on that
I
because
was
it's
just
so bad.
gonna talk about that movie. Talk about prime 90s cheese. You have John
Oh,
Travolta fresh off of his Pulp Fiction comeback, and then you have Nick Cage. Two absolute weirdos, like totally, if you think about it. And then they essentially switch characters to become the other guy because their faces are changed. It's like,
yeah.
what a
It,
crazy, violent, weird movie.
a master class of how to overact everything.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why we love Gray. He says, and this is absolutely true, Wild at Heart. If you guys have not seen this movie from, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, it is I believe it's David Lynch. Correct me if I'm wrong. It is a damn masterpiece.
Yes, I believe it's Lynch.
Willem Dafoe is in this movie. Rosanna Arquette. It is off the chain. David Lynch, crazy. It is a freaking awesome movie. So good call, Gray. But yeah, that to me was when I really liked Nick Cage. He let's be honest, he was pretty damn great in The Rock, though. He really was. That movie,
that's right,
dude. Come on. Like, I saw that movie in the theater, and it was like I walked out of there going, I'm going to eat me a rare piece of meat and drink me some bourbon because Nick Cage just kicked some ass. And I loved that movie. And, that was of course, shot in San Francisco with Alcatraz. And if I remember right, a younger John Cusack was in that movie as well. It was a really good movie. So, I mean, Nick Cage had great acting chops. And then, he also did, oh God, no, I just totally blanked on this. Ghost Rider. What did you guys think about him being Ghost Rider?
I think he was too much.
Yeah.
I think so.
Another one I haven't seen. Brahma Bull calls it out. National Treasure. Those weren't bad movies.
That was good.
He was actually really great. Brahma Bull, hail to you. He's also one of my Wolfbrothers. We had a great conversation yesterday on our member stream. Hail to you, Brahma Bull. You're absolutely right. I loved National Treasure 1. I mean, it was great, and Nicolas Cage got to be more than just crazy Nicolas Cage. So he has chops.
And I think part of that probably comes down to maybe whoever the director is, if they can rein him in and rein in that crazy, that may be something that helps his movies be better than what they are. And like, not the bees.
Oh God, that might have been the one that killed his career. That was the worst. He became a meme forever for that one.
Oh,
the bees! The
his
bees are in my
memes
eyes.
will outlive his career, outlive his life.
Do you guys remember though? Go ahead.
I was going to say, was he in Moonstruck?
Yes, he was in Moonstruck, 1987. He played Cher's love interest. That is one of my favorite performances by him. Honestly, you want a good family-friendly movie you'll laugh your ass off at, watch Moonstruck. It is fantastic. 3 generations of Italian family living together, and it's freaking hysterical. It was directed by Norman Jewison. It's a fantastic movie. We've got the Thunder Sensei. Go ahead, Zaxx. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go. I'm just laughing at the chat. These guys know their stuff.
I know. That's why I'm like, you guys, I was like, oh, nobody really cares. And it's like, no, you guys are firing me up. 3,000 Miles to Over Graceland. That's true. That was an over-the-top movie in every way possible. I think that came out, I want to say that came out in the early 90s, but I could be wrong about that. But that was another crazy movie. God, I know he was in that, and I'm blanking because there was another movie just like that. No, it was Bubba Hotep. That I sometimes get those two movies. Wait a minute. Con Air. We got
that's a classic.
Air.
That's classic.
Oh my God, I love that movie. Oh my God. And of course, Nick Cage plays the wrong military veteran who is just standing up for someone who is disrespecting his fiance and is in the wrong small backwards town and gets sent to prison. And what does he do when he's in prison? He's a good boy. And he's counting his time out so he can get out, marry his woman, and get on with his life. God, I love Con Air. Good call, Matt R. Wait, we got
You got some bots in the chat.
I
But
know.
I think Punkwaddle's on it. I think he's
All right.
Punkwaddle just took them all up pretty easily. That was good.
Thank you. I tried to
Thank
grab
you,
them too.
Punkwaddle. But like, I think we're all Nicolas Cage fans. It turns out.
Yeah.
It
And
seems
I would
like.
have never guessed that. You guys keep chatting because that'll clear the bots out of my stream. Because I want to show your stuff on screen, but they did make it to the screen, so we'll have to edit that out later. But yeah, who knew what else? I mean, what else? You guys are. This is amazing. This is why I say this every chat, but you guys are freaking amazing. Seriously, Sorcerer's Apprentice. I actually thought that movie could have been absolutely brilliant. I really, really do, and that's from Nick McCabe. I have to reload the comments section again because of those bots. So you guys hang with me a second. If you just sent something that was right before or after those bots, please send it again. We want to see your comments. This is the problem with getting botted. You have it messes up your streams pretty badly. So you guys are amazing. We have 28 people in chat. You have made me laugh and think so hard. You have made this show as ever. Everybody in this chat tonight has been an executive producer. This is so much fun. What do we got here? Go ahead.
We just have to show up. I think that's all we have to do.
Yeah, that's it. That it shouldn't be mentioned. I never thought about this. The Rock was unofficially Connery's last time playing 007.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true. That is true. Nicolas Cage, he was related to Francis Ford Coppola. I think he was one of his cousins, so he came from that family. And he was also in a movie, and those of you over a certain age will know this. I think it came out in 1984. It was called Valley Girl. And it was all about the 1984 stereotype Southern California mall rat Valley Girl type, which is like, oh my God, gag me with a spoon. And it's something that Cyndi Lauper riffed off of with a lot of her music videos, and that girls just want to have fun thing. It was a big part of that. But a very young Nick Cage was also in Valley Girl. So, yeah.
We got a super chat here from Nico Glock for $5 US. Yeah, awesome. Con Air is one of the best, worst movies ever. I can agree with that.
I'd say that's a very accurate. It's a good action flick. Let me give you something deep out of the bag of tricks.
Target that explosion and fire. Fire!
Hail to you, Nico Glock. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And of course, my chat feed is hosed up on Restream. So I am going to have to rely entirely on what's on the screen. So let's see what we got here. Oh, there, Brahma Bull says he owns Valley Girl. See, I'm not crazy. But let me go ahead and give Thunder Sensei 150, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. That was a cool movie. And Nicolas Cage, you guessed it, played a wizard who had a boy, and there was an evil enchantress, and if I remember correctly, that was played by, she's a French, Sophie Marceau, was an evil. I know that I was waiting for that reaction. Sophie Marceau is an evil enchantress. It's a movie that could have been so good, but it was kind of clumsy, and Nick Cage never really got out of that New York accent thing, being Nick Cage as a wizard, which I think in another story would actually be really cool, but it maybe didn't work for that movie as well.
He was in a witch hunter thing too, right? Was that him?
I think so.
Okay. Chat will tell us. Chat knows everything. So
they do, yeah. 80 films. He's been in 80 films.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I think he's had almost that many wives too. So,
yeah. And he has all the debt to prove it.
I was going to say, right. I mean, that's a man who owned like 27 castles at one time and like 87 Porsches and, child support and alimony are not cheap,
Yeah, he gets a divorce and he's like, all right, got to go to the scripts again and see which one I need to take on to pay this one off.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I can't pull these chats up. So Zaxx, I'm going to have to rely on you. It just won't come back for me. So if you pull them up, but Restream is
you got it
stuck for me.
Year of the Witch. Haha. I was right. Season of the Witch.
There we go.
Yeah.
80. Yeah. And what was it too? You guys are flying in the chat. Season of the Witch. Thank you, Nick McCabe. Yeah, no, I mean it's that yeah, sadly Ghost Rider, that one's coming to us from Daniel. Ghost Rider was a bit of a letdown. I agree. I think it's all right, but I really do hope that did you guys see that and this is a pipe dream considering casting these days that Norman Reedus was being rumored for a remake to play Ghost Rider from The Walking Dead. How cool would that be? You know, Daryl.
I think that's happening.
Is it? I hadn't
I
seen it
think maybe.
confirmed. I hadn't seen it confirmed.
Oh.
I thought it was between him and a woman of color. I'm not kidding. And so I kind of figured I knew how that one was going to get cast. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Someone mentioned earlier in chat too that they're doing a remake of Face Off.
I saw that. Weren't they going to make it a series or something like that? Or am I thinking of the wrong thing?
Huh.
I wouldn't doubt it. Everything old is going to be wrecked and reimagined again, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm sure this time it'll be male to female face off.
Willy's Wonderland. Is that the one where he doesn't talk? He has no lines?
That's what I thought. I think I saw that was like a year or two ago when that came out. I haven't seen that. Nathan, have you guys seen that? Have you guys seen that in chat?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Punkwad will put it up, so he's seen it at least, I think.
Yeah.
Unless he's just messing with us.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
We have one.
Go ahead.
Oh, now I was going to say we got another super chat coming up.
Thank you. I can't see him at all. Oh, Restream just blew up on me. That's what bots do to your show, kids. So this is from Daniel. This is a $2 super chat. Says you might need to add some Nick Cage clips. Okay.
Oof.
This is called marketing feedback. This is called listening to your audience. It is something that Netflix doesn't do, Amazon doesn't do, Paramount doesn't do, but here in the Salty Texas Sea Live, we do it. Tell me what Nick. I was just say, tell me what
you can add the bees clip to your opening video and replace a face in there. There you go.
All right, you guys remind me after this stream is done. I will do my best to do that, but I do want to pull some Nick Cage clips. I think there's stuff from Raising Arizona. There's also stuff from Moonstruck.
Gone in 60 seconds, people.
Yes, that's what I was about to say.
This is what I'm talking about. Hail to you, Daniel. You guys, this is what I'm saying. You guys are so much smarter than I am. Thank you for being here. This is fantastic.
Oh, I like this one. This is a good comment here.
Okay.
It's coming on up.
Okay. LOL. This is from Thunder Sensei 150. Hail to you. Nick Cage would be perfect. Has an older. Oh, yes. I always thought this has an older Harry Dresden from the Dresden Files books, or has a random cameo if they ever redo the Dresden Files the right way. No, Thunder Sensei, I agree with you. In the Dresden file books, which are fantastic, he is really, especially at his age now, is who I think to be the character of Harry Dresden. I absolutely agree with that. Very good call. Yeah, that's a good question. What role would you like to see if they're going to do something? You know, what would we like to see Nick Cage do? I would like for him to be in the DC universe. I don't want him to be part of some woke reimagining. I don't want him anywhere the Marvel Phase 4. I just don't. You know, they're going to I maybe with that dark Pattinson Batman sandbox that they go in with now, it's apparently 3 movies. He would be fantastic in Gotham as something, you know. I could see Nick Cage as the Scarecrow, maybe, or I don't know, man. Like open up the Bible on DC and pull out some weird esoteric character that's a lunatic in Arkham Asylum. You know, Nick Cage would rock that thing. He absolutely would.
I got it.
You take.
I got it. Well, for this one I can do. The ultimate Nick Cage clip is called "Nick Cage punches a woman whilst wearing a bear suit." That's for that shouldn't be. I haven't seen that. I don't know if that's real or not.
Oh my God.
Wasn't that in the Wicker Man or whatever that was called?
Oh, maybe. That would make sense.
Some chick in there.
I was going to say, don't give Ezra Miller ideas, you guys. Don't give Ezra Miller ideas, you know?
Choke slam. Okay, here's this is the one. You give Nick Cage to James Gunn and say, go make him a DC character.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Especially, I mean, I still like the idea of having Nick Cage come in as a cameo in a DC multiverse movie. as long as it's not wokeified garbage, where he played an alternate Superman. Maybe it's a Superman like in a timeline that failed, where maybe Superman failed to protect the world, and it's like he's the only one left or something like that. You know, it would be so perfect, and it would be that horrible thing of fan service, just fan service. You know.
This
Oh,
is
here
funny.
we go. Oh, Nico Glock, you're gonna kill my
Oh, my
Amanda
God.
Manethrin over here. This is a $2 super chat. Says, I want Cage has Kramer in a Seinfeld reboot. You know what?
Yeah, because you can't have Kramer as Kramer anymore.
No.
I would watch that. I would absolutely watch that. Here's some deep trivia. And the gentleman who played Kramer, and of course his name is now slipping my brain because it's full of woke entertainment.
Michael Richards.
Michael Richards.
Yeah.
There was a show on in the 70s called The Carol Burnett Show. A young Michael Richards in the early 70s played a character very similar to some of the mannerisms of Kramer in The Carol Burnett Show. He wasn't Kramer, but a lot of that, shaky stuff and head thing and big eyes and the crazy hair. He was doing that in the early Carol Burnett Show in the 1970s. Just go ahead, look up Michael Richards on The Carol Burnett Show. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. So, hail to you, Nico Glock. I'm going to give you, let's do this one.
Travel light. That is handsome walk.
Yeah, Restream's getting a little buggy after bots. I hit a button 3 times and then it was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do it now. So
We could also add this clip. Actually, this is a good one. We could add the fire hose clip from UHF.
Yes.
Oh, I remember seeing that in the theater. I remember being so excited because Weird Al. This was the mid to late 80s, and he had just come out with that album with like a surgeon and all of those songs, which of course are now slipping my mind. I was really troubled to hear that Daniel, this is why my brain after almost 3 hours, the guy who played Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. Is playing. For some reason they thought they needed a Weird Al biopic, and so now Daniel Radcliffe is playing. What? Why would I make this up? Daniel Radcliffe is playing a young Weird Al in a biopic of Weird Al. Chat, I'm not lying. You tell them, like, somebody thought this was a good idea. Out of all of the musicians, and no disrespect to Weird Al, but out of all of the musicians we could have done here, like Janis Joplin or Tina Turner. Well, I guess they did Tina Turner, but just all of these people you could have done. Someone else from the Doors besides Jim Morrison. They do Weird Al, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So
there's your Nick Cage role.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time. Yeah.
No,
I could actually.
Well, yeah, he'd improve it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I actually, to be honest with you, I always thought of Lan as more a little bit older. Do you know what I mean? Just a little bit older than the actor that they have now. A little more grizzled, like maybe just on the other side of 40, and more of a mercenary type guy. Go ahead, Zaxx.
Are you thinking about Nick Cage for Lan?
No, I was thinking about Nick Cage for Weird Al.
Oh.
Well, yeah. What I could see is Nick Cage as another warder, though. Do you know what I mean? Like if this was a faithful adaptation, and they're in Camelin and all the warders are together, because there's a whole story you guys don't know if you haven't read the books that they just skipped over.
Well, you know that Nick Cage could deliver those lines that Lan delivers when he's training the boys. From Field. He could deliver those fatherly like lines that you just suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah, we don't have those lines.
Yeah, and we don't have any training of young men, and we can't have older men mentoring either young women, or men. Now it's just women are in charge, and much like Admiral Holdo from The Last Jedi, that's the same archetype they've overlaid with Moiraine, which is you just do what I tell you because I'm a whammon. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about Nick Cage playing Nynaeve?
Oh, I think it's a perfect. I don't know why they didn't go with it to begin with. So
yeah, you could do it.
Let me do this comment from Daniel Sheldon says, has anyone read or listened to the audiobooks of Adrian's Undead Diaries? I think it is the best zombie story ever and hope they adapt it because I can't believe the author would give up control.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't
Neither have I.
either, but I am going to look this thing up. Adrian's Undead Diaries. That is fascinating, Daniel Sheldon. Thank you for that. Thank you for that chat. I'm always interested in anything that has to do with the classic paranormal or parapsychology stuff. Speaking of which, I promised you about a month ago that we were going to be doing a woo-woo show talking about cryptids, unidentified flying things, conspiracies, things along those lines. You have to be very careful that I'm on YouTube probation right now. Zaxx and I are going to start working on the first episode this week, and it'll probably be a week or two. We'll be covering a story which just broke, and it is in fact based on current events that occurred at Skinwalker Ranch involving United States military personnel. You can go find this article. This isn't made up nonsense. Look for the show. Be out in about a week or two. So just wanted to shout that one out. You can take this one, Zaxx.
Yeah, we got Nerdporio Lifeform in the chat saying hi. We've been on his show a couple times. We've done an Alien retrospective and an Aliens retrospective, and so since those are the only two movies in that franchise, we can't take it any further, right? So
no, yeah. It's great when a creative team in a studio know when to end a series and not say make two more, which crash and burn, and then try to do a reimagining prequel with two even worse movies than those other two movies. They just stopped at Aliens and Aliens. So hail to you, brother. Hail. Go subscribe to Nerdporio Lifeform. Good guy. Really fun to work with.
Absolutely. And we're talking about doing Fellowship in the future, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a long night, I think.
Yeah, that one, I'm like, I love it. I go on his channel, I say I can only do 2 hours, and then we cross over 3 hours, and he's like, we're almost done. And I'm like, all right, dude, but it's great conversations. And it's when you find somebody that you enjoy working with, you hang out and you tough it up. So hail to you.
Matt R, I think I was going to be on Team Matt R, but I don't think I can be on your team anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you're allowed to like what you like. There were so many things wrong with that movie, Matt R, and it's because I really liked Hicks a lot, and I thought the way they did Hicks was dirty, and the way they did Newt was dirty, and I thought there was so much more they could have done because, as we talked about on Nerdporio Lifeform stream, Ripley had a complete character arc of having lost her daughter because she was in hyperspace for nearly 60 years to reclaim a daughter, to save a daughter. And you could have had an entire movie based upon that strong, independent woman, which Ripley was, and her maternal instincts in protecting them and taking care of Hicks at the same time, who's wounded. So I think that it was just a really, really missed opportunity.
I think, to be fair to Matt R, maybe it could be a good film in a bubble or in a vacuum, but in the vacuum of space. But unfortunately, because of how much I liked the movies previous and what I think it did to those, that's where, it's hard for me to fall in love with it. Could have been a good film, but off to a bad start for me personally. But like what you like. And we got Kron Aeon here. Hey, thanks for coming. And Daniel Shelton, who's he's in our chat right now, he's normally a truck driver. So honk honk, Daniel, and thanks for listening.
Honk honk. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things going on right now on the East Coast that nobody's talking about. Pretty big, involving truck drivers here in the United States, and all of our attention seems to be elsewhere for some reason. But this is not a political show. It's weird. It's weird. You tell him, Frost. Tell him, Frost. Yeah, look at this. We got the Thad that shouldn't be. He says, if you take away killed Newt and Hicks from the movie, like 80% of problems disappear. True. And then you have a new movie.
Yes.
I agree with you. I agree.
Yep.
And again, don't take that the wrong way, Matt. This is what fandom is. This is what we used to do in comic book short stories. We used to talk about why we like this, why we like that, why Empire was better than Star Wars. Why The Last Starfighter was better than Conan the Barbarian. All of those things. This is part of fandom. So hail to you and thanks for your comments. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No, you mentioned Last Starfighter. You know, I heard they're also making that one as well.
I am not surprised in the slightest. And let me guess how
Yeah.
they're going to cast it. Let me guess how they're going to cast it. You know?
The girlfriend will be the hero, not the arcade.
Oh yeah.
champion.
No, well, the girlfriend and her girlfriend will be the hero.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
we got
Crony, yeah, you missed it, I think.
Well, we talked about it a little bit, but thanks for showing up. It's okay that you're late. We're actually going to be doing a more in-depth Wheel of Time thing with a whole bunch of people, some of which couldn't make it to the show tonight. So I made the call earlier today to postpone it. And it's not that Prophet of the Dragon and Man of Manethrin aren't cool enough, and Zaxx and I, but I really wanted to get a whole bunch of people who had different perspectives on the Wheel of Time together and get their takes on season 1 and then like season 2 and what we see. So what we're going to redo is I'm going to pull these people in when they're available, because they're hardworking people like all of us are, and then I'm going to record that and then drop it as a video, which is more of a compendium of all these different perspectives, and put cool graphics in it, and then that way it doesn't turn into a 4.5 hour live stream that if you have to try and find the good parts or something like that. So I hope that's okay. So that's the approach I'm going to use.
It's the right call.
Yeah, I
100%.
think so. Yeah. So let's see, we got here Punkwaddle saying, "Hey, we were all over the place tonight. Good to see you." It's true, Punkwaddle. Yeah. Wheel of Time, and we've got what is this comment here? We have, this is from Nerdporial. Oh, here we go. This is Daniel Shelton. You're welcome, and thanks to everyone for the content. I appreciate all the great minds in the chat and in the show. Hail to you, Daniel Shelton. I agree. This chat has been on fire for multiple weeks in a row. I love that you distract me from all of the links that I put together, and we end up talking about what you guys want to talk about. Because as you saw it with Purple Valkyrie last week and Max and us, we love when you talk to us and interact with us. You know, we're not here to lecture you. We're not here to educate you. We're here to interact with you and have fun, because we're nerds and geeks just like you are. So, yeah, no G4 marketing plan here. So,
no.
That shouldn't be. It says you have hit 56 likes now, and I think you peaked around 36 live watching. Well, thank you for that. That one thing, if you're an up and coming YouTuber, and I am still an up and coming YouTuber, is don't check your view, don't check your subscribers all the time. It'll make you nuts. You know, check it maybe once a week. And you know, I have a certain magic number. You know, now that I'm at where I'm at, it's like, oh, I can't wait till I hit 2,000, and it's like, you know what, it'll happen if it happens. Just like I never in a million years managed that I hit 1,000 subs. I mean, I spent many months at like 32 or 36. But like I've said before, find something you're passionate about, speak to it authentically, and do it in a way that you clearly convey what you have to say, and you will find like-minded people. You really will. So that's my advice. The chat is alive. That's from Punkwaddle. It's true. Yeah. And yeah, Nerdporial Lifeform, you did poke a bear with a Man of Manethrin. And if you haven't been able to figure out from that hobbit pipe and that beard, he has a huge battle axe and will find you and will resolve this in open combat. So
look
at this
axe.
Matt R is back in the game, says, I won't watch Wheel of Time, but I will watch all of Salty's coverage of it. Absolutely. You know, Matt R, there are so many, and I'm not doing this as self-promotion. There's a lot of people in my comment section that says, I stopped watching this show after the second episode, but I tuned in every week to watch your review, and it was so much more entertaining than the actual show. And it's like, that's all I wanted to do, was to share. I mean, when I was losing my mind and laughing and being hysterical, it's just like people used to say, stop being so fake. I wasn't being fake. That show is so damn ridiculous and broken and terrible, and what they did to that characters. If you love the books, if you love the characters, you're going to have that reaction, because it's literally like someone trying to make you drink antifreeze. You can't do it. You have to fight it with all your might. And that's what Rafe Judkins did. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to give us with the Rings of Power too. So.
Yep. Hey, Thad, I'll put your link in the chat right away. Go sub to him. I'm going to put his link in the chat. It's Unbearable 73. I'll get it up for you. Oh, God. I said that on a stream.
No, it's all right. It's not like your Amaranth. So we're probably
True.
we're gonna start winding this thing down. This was about as long as I thought we'd go tonight, and you guys have been on fire all night. This has been a lot of fun. But before we go, I mean, we could maybe do a half an hour, but in the chat, is there something that you've been seeing? Because here's the thing. You notice that I don't cover certain things on this channel. I don't talk about Star Wars. I really don't talk about the MCU unless a new show's coming out. I don't do episode reviews because I'm out. I'm out. I am going to talk about what they're doing to Thor Love and Thunder, but I find it really interesting, don't you, how they went radio silent on that. Did you guys see those action figures, the reveals, where everything that was rumored with Jane Foster taking over as Thor is completely true? It's just you got little 98-pound Natalie Portman, who couldn't even hold the prop of Thor's hammer. Mjolnir. Yeah, that one. You guys, I've been drinking bourbon and it's late. Come on. Mjolnir couldn't even hold it up, and Taika Waititi had to hold it up for her. All I want is a good MCU Phase 4. And I don't see any good MCU Phase 4. Now, guys, am I being unfair about that? I mean, what do you guys think about Doctor Strange? Do we have any hope for that? Obviously, Spider-Man was good, but that wasn't Marvel. That was Sony.
It took Sony to do it.
I don't have any hope, really. I'll see Doctor Strange probably, but just some of the press that's coming out of it early on, it sounds to me like another, passing of the torch for some characters, and I just think they didn't develop those characters enough to pass the torch from them yet. I don't think it's time for that, but they're going to do it anyway. So
no, but they were born with a certain set of chromosome, and so therefore, that's funny if you think about it, though.
Yeah.
We're saying biology matters until it doesn't. So any character that was a man, and let's go through the list, you guys. Loki, what happened there? WandaVision. Hawkeye. And did you guys see what I haven't even talked about? She-Hulk, the comedy drama that's based in a law firm with She-Hulk.
I know.
Bruce and Bruce Banner's kids, the little Hulklets. It's like they're gonna make the Hulk into a literal clown to be replaced by female Hulk who's an attorney, which I know some of that stuff is comic book accurate, but the way they're doing it, again, don't look at things in a silo. Look at the totality of what MC4 has been. When Nerdrotic called it the MCU, he was right. Every damn character. And I cringe to wonder what's going to happen in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I really do.
Well, I think that with the big one for me was what they did to Hawkeye. I haven't watched the series, and I like the actress Haley Steinfeld. Kate Bishop's a good character, but he had just got the torch.
Yeah.
It's not time to pass that torch. We want to see Budapest. You could have done Budapest as the Black Widow movie and then done his series after that, or cover the time in between between the blips when he's Ronin. Tell that story.
You have brought up Budapest many times, but here's the thing about Budapest. Now, unless there's something in the comic books that I don't know, because this is the MCU, they could have went a different way where Clint is literally trying to find Natasha. So you don't have to have Scarlett Johansson in the movies. You can make it where it's almost like a Die Hard thing, where it's run and gun and crazy stuff, and you get to see Hawkeye just going and being Hawkeye and a side of him we've never seen before, and having to dig deep and pull something out, just kind of like we did with Captain America in the first Avenger, where he's got his ass beat by the Red Skull in some certain times, but he learned and overcome, so that the end result could have just been him and Natasha waking up in a hospital together, and they reach hands across the room. That is all they needed to do for Budapest, and we would have lost our damn minds.
Yeah.
And I just gave you a better synopsis of a Marvel movie that would make just as much money as Spider-Man, the last Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, than Black Widow, Legends of Shang-Chi, The Eternals all combined. Let's be really honest about it. It's not because I'm a genius. It's just because I like good stories. Speaking of good stories, Nico Glock, again, dropping us the $5 super chat, says, Tell him, Frosk. Seal clap. Seal clap. All right, there we go.
Yeah. And
That's
he's a
my
new
seal
member.
clap. Oh
Nico's
my
joined
God.
as a Wolfbrother. So
Nico,
yeah.
welcome to the Wolf Pack. You can meet all my Wolf brothers and sisters. We'll put you on Twitter. Thank you, Nico. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for your engagement tonight. I can't believe it. We still have 26 people hang with us on
Yeah, I know.
chat. You guys are awesome. I would agree. I mean, is there anything in chat that Nico, I owe you a video real quick. I hope that still works. Yes, it does. All right, here we go. This one is for you.
Now for wrath, now for ruin, and the red dawn.
I think it's my favorite clip. Between that and the Hunting Orcs. But I got to tell you, you guys have inspired me to find some good Nick Cage. Ooh-wee. Hail
You can do it.
Nico Glock. So, yeah, what about you guys in chat? I mean, how are Nathan? I mean, are you looking? Here's the thing: are your daughters looking forward to any of the MC movies coming out? Because I think people really like to hear. Like I know with you, Zaxx, and your sons, and of course you, Nathan, with your daughters. Is there anything coming out with like, Dad, I want to go see this movie from DC or from the MCU?
There really isn't. I mean, if they see it, they'll mention that they'd like to go see it, but it won't go beyond that. The interest doesn't sit there and say, "Oh, I really need to see that." Like my oldest really wanted to go see the new Spider-Man movie before school started back up after the winter break.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and she kept on asking and asking, but there hasn't been that moment for her or my youngest for any of the other movies at all, or any of the shows. Like, can we sit down and watch these? It's like, oh yeah, well, they'll watch it with their mom if they happen to be on the app on our Roku. That's it. There's no sustained energy for wanting to go and see these movies. And it's even if there's a perspective of like, yeah, we want to go support the strong women involved in any of that, there's no energy to keep that going for them because the stories suck.
What about you, Zaxx? I know you have a 17-year-old and then I think a 6-year-old. Is there anything is your 17-year-old anything at
Batman.
all? I mean, yeah.
He was pumped for the Batman. Yeah, he was pumped for that. He liked it a lot. It was just, I didn't want to ruin it for him. So I actually liked the movie, but there's some things about it that I had issues with after. But overall, it was a good experience. I liked it, and he loved it. So
that's awesome.
But the Flash, no interest whatsoever. Like, it's just the Batman, and that's it. It's all they're really pumped about is just the Batman, and he would rather go play an Arkham game than go watch the Flash.
I know. I think I brought it up last week, and I don't know how far we went down the road. But here's the thing: do you know where Michael Keaton's Batman is going to be? In a straight-to-streaming movie called Batgirl. That's where they're putting the Batman we all want. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And okay, now in all fairness, Brandon Fraser, Canadian friend of yours, Zaxx.
Yep.
He's going to be the
my neighbor.
Bad. Yeah, of course he is, right? You guys swap maple syrup and dig out, but he's going to be a bad guy in this movie. And I did a video on this probably 3 months ago now. But you would think with the success of the Batman movie that they would be saying, hey, you know what? You can't wait to see the new Batgirl show. Well, they have literally said nothing in the wake of this tremendous box office success. I mean, what do we think of that? Does that mean that this Batgirl is going to be absolutely, entirely, completely different from everything that we loved about Batman? I mean, what is the reason for that? I mean, it's the same DC product. I don't know. I'm confused by all this, man.
DC hates momentum. They don't want to build momentum with their characters or their universe, if that's what it is, or anything. They hate that. Everything has to be a restart or a redo or a reboot, and nothing is consistent. There's no planning, and if they do have a plan, they panic and change it, or their plan takes so long that Marvel does it ahead of them.
It's true. It's
Like-
true. I mean, we talked about it last week. I wanted more Affleck. I wanted more Batfleck. I really did. And I really want a lot more Henry Cavill. Like why we don't, and Nerdrotica said this, why we don't have Cavill has James Bond. Did you guys see that though? They were making Cavill into a second-rate James Bond-like character with an 80s kind of a buzz cut. Apparently that's coming to streaming. We're not going to get him as James Bond. We're going to get him on this deep discount streaming thing. I think, yeah, it's true. I think it's on Netflix. He's got like 90s hair. He's got this crazy 90s like gel situation going on. And if they were smart, after Daniel Craig, they would take they would take the franchise back to the 60s and start over with Cavill. And because the gadgets don't wow anymore, and so much of James Bond was the gadgets. But to redo that and make him not Sean Connery, but to make him 008 or 00 something, and have Connery in a deep fake meet with Cavill with the original Q, that would blow my damn mind. People would lose their minds and they would make so much money. Again, I'm just a moron in an office who happens to have a fandom, and I'm giving movies that would be hundreds of millions of dollars in blockbusters. This is easy stuff. They're not doing it. I'm at a complete loss. I really am.
Well, they're very slow to do anything. That's kind of part of the issue. But and with Cavill, like we kind of want him to be in everything right now, and I would like to see him in most things right now. I'm not complaining with that. But there's only one Henry Cavill, so well, I'm worried they're going to have this be a dream.
Cavill right now is money in the bank if for anybody. I think I mean, like hate or love Witcher. Whenever he's on the screen with Witcher, he owns the role. I thought he did well as Superman, and then they should have done a second Superman movie, but then they decided, well, let's rush the Justice League into this. And so they completely sidelined him as Superman, and so what Man of Steel did or had in terms of lack of character development with the character, you could have done in a second movie and then gone into Batman versus Superman and Justice League and actually just had a really strong character base for Superman, and they just completely undercut him.
Zaxx, can you pull up that comment from Daniel related to Bond? It went off the screen already, but it's just, I think there's some value in it. And I apologize, you guys. Restream blew up after those bots, and I can't access your chat comments. I have to rely on Zaxx to hunt and peck for them.
Okay, I'm looking.
It's just.
We also have a.
Go ahead.
We also have a super chat here too, and I'll pull up the Daniel comment too.
Okay. Let me look. Okay, it's not in the. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. You guys are fantastic. Thunder Sensei 150, hail to you. This is a $9.99 super chat. Says, if they want to, see, this is what I'm talking about. If they want to put Michael Keaton in a new Batman movie, they need to do some kind of version of Batman Beyond, where he is this is what I'm saying. The older Bruce Wayne training Terry McGinnis has the new Batman.
That's great.
You could literally make a trilogy out of that. You could probably conservatively over the 3 movies probably pull $700 million. That's if it just did okay.
Oh, more than that.
I'm just saying, like conservatively, but I mean, the first movie would probably get real close to $1 billion if you did it right, and then maybe you'd have some drop off, but you would be printing money. All I've wanted to see is Keaton as Batman again. That's all I've wanted to see. And you know what I really want to see is I want to see Keaton in some type of weird quasi universe with Henry Cavill as Superman. Tell me that would not be the ultimate nerdgasm right there. Really. That would just be amazing. Hail to you, Thunder Sensei 150. Let me give her this clip, and then Zaxx, you go ahead.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Thank you again, Thunder Sensei. Go ahead, Zaxx. I didn't mean to cut you off.
But like what you propose sounds great, but none of it pushes Ezra Miller's career forward, so it's not worth it.
Oh, wait a minute. It's not just Ezra Miller. It's Brie Larson.
Yeah.
It's Tanaya Paris. It's the new Ms. Marvel actress, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I forget her name. And let's not forget America Chavez. All of those other characters out there. But in the DCEU, it certainly doesn't bring. Oh, what's her name? That one that had a little kerfuffle with my boy Johnny. Amanda, isn't that her? Isn't that her name?
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah,
that one. The one who likes to poop the bed. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Justice for Johnny. # Justice for Johnny. That's all.
They should just give those two their own movie, and we can move on with their lives.
Yeah. God, what just yeah. No matter how beautiful they are, if they're that crazy, run like hell. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't get married to them. So I'm speaking from experience. So.
we got a Wolfbrother in chat here too, whose name I can't pronounce.
Oh yeah. So I've got to lean in here. This is Doviande se Povia Sagain. Oh, no. I saw yesterday, and I want to apologize to you. The chat, we had went about 2.5 hours. I didn't close out the chat window, but the link was still open to come in, and I saw that you had come in well after we were over. So next member stream, please reach out to me either on Twitter or any of the social media accounts that I'm on. I want to make sure and get you on. So, but I am sorry that got hosed up and that you weren't able to make it. I look forward to speaking with you. Hail to you, and I'm glad you're here tonight, my Wolf brother. So, and look at this. We've got Daniel Sheldon says, LOL, no, luckily they have the same actor playing Willow. This is true. And drawing a blank on his name a moment. That is, oh my God. It's the same guy from the original Willow. I want to say
Peter Dinklage?
No, it is not Peter Dinklage. He is the destroyer of dwarf roles, because that's a problem. What a sacrifice for Cyrano de Bergerac. Everyone in the chat, raise your hand if you saw Cyrano de Bergerac, that he virtue signaled as part of the marketing campaign and ruined the careers of so many little people in Hollywood who are not going to get roles now. It's not that. God, I don't want to Google it. Somebody, the Thad that shouldn't be, probably knows. I'm just going to say, Thad, who's the guy who played Willow, the short guy in Willow? And it's not Peter Dinklage. So look at this. We've got Thunder Sensei 150 says, Luke Skywalker is my favorite. And it jumped on me, is my favorite character.
Warwick Davis.
Thank you, Brahma Bull. Hail my Wolf brother. Yeah. Saves the day. Dude, I love that flying catch in center field for the out. Brilliant work. Thank you, Brahma Bull. Yeah, we've never had this conversation about strong male archetypes. That's another show I want to do where we talk about the strong male archetype in strong female archetypes long before this period of intersectionalism and deconstruction. Because there were a lot of strong female characters in cinema. There really were. And in science fiction and fantasy. They just weren't. You do. Paulie, give me that damn money right now. Hail to you. Latino Slant in the chat. This is a running gag, you guys, for that don't know. Paulie and I, Paulie likes to give me grief, and I like to say tag you're it and send him a super chat, and it's a running gag. This is what we do on YouTube. Hail to you. Go subscribe to Latino Slant. He does some absolutely tremendous work. He actually focuses on some really cool actors and actresses, as well as music and part of the culture, Latino culture. So it's a voice that's very needed here on YouTube. He's a very cool guy, and he sings like an angel. Just going to say that about Paulie. Hail to you, Latino Slant. So, Zaxx, I'll let you take this one while I take a sip of something.
Oh, Daniel Shelton just gives credit to the other Daniel for remembering Warwick Davis. He said, yes, Daniel, thanks. I knew a Daniel would remember that. But to Paulie, I was watching your show earlier tonight with Cameron. It was a great show. And I like what you guys said about Leslie Grace and that casting. I think there's nothing wrong with that casting at all. And it should stay the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And Thunder Sensei 150, that is a name that YouTube does not like. That's why I had to kind of mush it about. Amber. Yeah, that's all we can say. We can't say the full name. Otherwise, bad things happen to your channel. It's just not an urban myth. It's actually true. And look at Paulie, Latino Slant. My brother, mi amigo, thank you. 199 super chat. Tag Capron. All right, I'm coming hard for you next time, Polly. Thank you for the super chat, brother. And because it's a super chat, I am going to give you something out of the bag of tricks.
May the wings of liberty never lose a feather.
Thank you so much, Polly. Go subscribe to Latino Slant. Polly does fantastic work. Hail to you, brother, and I'm coming for you. Keep your eyes open, Polly. I'm coming for you. All right, awesome. Look at this. Nico Glock, our new Wolf brother on the channel tonight, drops a 1.99 super chat. Doesn't say anything. If you want to throw it out there, we'll absolutely jump on it. We'll give you a freebie or another one like that. But hail to you, Nico Glock. It's you guys tonight. You're on fire. I thought last week was crazy, and you guys were driving the chat. You make this so much fun, and thank you. I mean, Zaxx has said it. Purple was here. She'd say it too. She's actually traveling internationally. That's why she's not on the show. She'll be back next week. We just hope she's not eaten by a polar bear. That's all I'm going to say about her undisclosed location. And of course, Max was on tonight. But you guys make this show so much fun. So thank you to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Do I lose my nerd card because I didn't know anything about this Willow show?
No, Willow came out, and this is where I'm sure I'm going to get whacked pretty hard. I think it was 86. It was either 85 or 86. It was written by George Lucas, but I think directed by Steven Spielberg, if I'm not wrong. Am I right about that?
No, you're right. No,
Okay.
I remember the movie, but there's a reboot show they're talking about in the chat. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
So Warwick Davis is back in it. There's not a lot of details around it. He did something on Twitter with a selfie stick because he's short and it looked weird. He talked about it, but there's not a lot of details on this. I'm going to call it right here and say that he's going to pass the torch to a diverse dwarf that's a woman. That's my guess as to what the whole show is going to be about. I could be wrong. So, and hail again to you, Polly.
And I'm fired, so
that's
It'll
okay.
be a crossover from the chick in the Rings of Power show.
Oh my God, Nico Glock, Polly, before you go, this guy's going this guy's dropped $5 to go, Polly. He says, hail Latino Slant. Hail to you, Nico Glock. And of course, because that is what it is, I need to give you something. Here we go.
We have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us. There are other forces at work in this world further besides the will of evil.
Yeah, hail to you guys. Hail to you, my brother, Nico Glock. Hail to you, my brother, Polly. Every day when I wake up and I I make the mistake of reading the headlines, I just remember Tolkien's words via Gandalf. And it's all we can do. It's all we can do.
But that shouldn't be mentioned. Ron Howard was the director of Willow.
Thank you. I knew that the Thad that shouldn't be was going to come at me with a fly swatter and correct me. Thank you, brother. Yeah, straight up facts. That's our man, the Thad that shouldn't be. He is the resident lore expert for this show. Just so everybody knows,
the dude is an encyclopedia.
He really is, and he is a content machine. He is a true, very, very up and coming YouTuber.
He's really the anti-Wikipedia.
He is. He is. And he's doing a really good job of learning how to do this in his own way. He's got some great takes. He's given you knowledge so that when you go into battle with the woke or the intersectional or the misinformed, and I'll be honest, the miseducated, the Thad that shouldn't be will give you those pearls of wisdom that you need to come out of that combat with your hand held high. So let me get to this super chat. You guys are amazing. Oh my God. Thunder Sensei 150. I bow before you, man. You are a true wolf sister. It's a $4.99 super chat says, LOL. Amber, you almost got me on that one. Amber should just be called Voldemort, as she shall not be named. I agree to that. And there are channels out there that got struck because of their AH coverage, which is really weird. It's really weird, isn't it? Like, that's all I'm going to say.
It's awfully strange who they choose to silence and about who.
Yeah. Ezra,
that one,
Miller, Amber. Yeah, there's a couple other women out there like that. And and
So,
people. It's interesting. Go ahead.
I have put Thad's link in the chat. He's got 17 subs right now. Let's get him to 20 if we can by the end of the show. And please go and tell him there was only one Crow movie, because he seems to think there was sequels and a TV show, and he knows most of his stuff. I give him credit, but he's wrong about that.
I agree. And Thad, I mean, I would never embarrass you in public, but on this one, brother, I would say you are sadly misinformed. There is only one Crow.
See, yeah, that's right.
There's only two. So let me give you this Thunder Sensei. We are going to cycle through. Which one haven't I? Okay. This warms the cockles of my heart every time.
For Frodo.
What
It
can you
warms the
say?
what? What'd you
It
say?
warms the
what?
cockles
Oh.
of my heart, dude. Come on, man.
Not Jack Murphy?
No, that warms another thing.
Oh,
Speaking
okay.
of warming things, I think we're far enough in the show. It was fascinating to see the about face with G4 and the fact that Amaranth was on the show. And there was a segment that a lot of people didn't talk about because it's a good way to get your channel nuked. But they had a conversation about intimate lubricants that went in the back door that were flavored. and Amaranth, they were making jokes about that. So again, all I want now is to see Frosk again. I want her to come on that show with her head held high and to lecture all of us again about how Amaranth does not exist to be easy on the eyes for you or for you to spank your monkey to. I want her to come on and tell us all that again, because I want her to live her values. I'll just say that. So
they actually recast her as a person of color.
Yeah, they should.
No, they already
Go ahead,
did. It was the one that the ASMR portion of that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That could be.
So Daniel dropping the wisdom on Willow. Willow was essentially a failure. It was. I can tell you, I was there. I was a teenager when that movie came out. I didn't go see it. The reviews trashed it. And even though it was Val Kilmer, and like, I don't know how many of you people know, Val Kilmer had a really cool bunch of movies that came out, like Real Genius in the early 80s, and then also a great movie, if you haven't seen it, called Top Secret, which is kind of like all I need to do is say that name, dude. It's in the same vein, has that absurdist stuff, has Mel Brooks, but also like Airplane. It is just one of those movies where you watch it and you don't know whether to feel stupid for laughing so hard, and you're almost embarrassed to love it as much as you do. But go check out Val Kilmer in Top Secret. Nathan, you have some strong opinions. Roll with it, brother.
Oh no, that Top Secret has probably the most genius movie scene of all time in it, with the Swedish bookshop, where they filmed it backwards. It is incredible, and it comes off so perfectly in the movie. It's just genius. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to watch the movie, at least look up the Swedish bookshop scene in Top Secret. It's phenomenal.
It's a great doubleheader to watch Top Secret followed by Blazing Saddles. I mean, that to me is it's a great if you're off, if you're sick, if you have a day off from work or whatever it is, and you want to kill some time, watch those two movies together. Your soul will be cleansed. You will have a new outlook on life, and you will have laughed so hard that your stomach hurts. It's a great movie. Val Kilmer was more than just a vaguely homosexual fighter pilot in Top Gun who wanted to play volleyball shirtless with Tom Cruise too much. He actually has some pretty good acting chops. So I'll let you take this one, Zaxx.
Okay, for $2, $2 US, we have Nico Glock saying Top Secret is effing awesome, and he's right about that. They would not make that movie now, unfortunately.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list of movies.
Yep.
Let me go ahead and give you. Boy, we have cycled through these a couple times. I will give you this one.
Target that explosion and fire. Fire!
Oh, Star Trek. What happened to you?
No, it's Restream. The buttons are starting to not work. So I was trying to say, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm like, I press something and it opens and it closes. Anyway, you guys don't need to know. So I was going to say, Nico Glock, thank you so much again for becoming my wolf brother. Hail to you. Top Secret is effing awesome. It really is. And you can go find it out there. Actually, not to be cheap about it, but it's usually on a lot of those value DVDs where you can get 4 of those kind of crazy loopy movies like that, where usually Real Genius and Top Secret are together. And there was another movie called Gotcha, which I think came out in about 86.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It had a young Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards was also in Top Gun. He played Goose, the one who got killed in the canopy accident with Tom Cruise. Same vein, set in Eastern Europe during the Cold War. He had all of his hair. For those of you who saw him on ER, all these movies are great. They're solid gold, like 80s B movies, and they're so damn good right now. They really are.
Yep.
Nathan, what did you think about that movie? Really hot Russian spy on that one too.
Oh yeah, yeah, she was gorgeous. Yeah, really good movie. I haven't seen that. Oh, probably about 10 years, I think. But it is.
Yeah,
it is just a very. It's just a very good, fun movie. You know, it's just nice to sit down. You can just take your mind off of everything and be entertained with it.
and look at this, the follow-up. This is what I mean about the fellowship and about making cool friends and trying to treat people with respect and stuff like that. The Thad that shouldn't be says he's up to 17 subs now. Says thanks, guys. You are or actually that you are absolutely welcome. You deserve that. You're putting in the work. It's a grind, and hail to you. I wish you nothing but success, and please keep coming back and breaking my balls. That so yes. So here we go. We also have, and I'm the only one that can apparently say this and I've got to lean in close, which is crazy. It's Dovi Ande. Wait, let me do this again. Dovi Ande Se Tovia Seguin says, as much as I want to see adaptations of my favorite fantasy series, and it jumped like hell on me, I kind of don't want them to be adapted in this current climate.
Yeah,
you're right.
Go ahead, Zaxx.
Absolutely. You don't want to see your stuff adapted right now, and I don't know if it's going to get better in the future or not, but right now it's guaranteed to be done poorly, which may mean it'll never be done again. So that could be good, I suppose, but they're like nothing is being adapted properly right now, and you don't even have to be like, I hate the argument of the one-to-one adaptation, which no one has ever expected for anything, and that's a straw man. You just have to have the intentions to do the best you can to adapt the material the way it's meant to be. That's all.
Yeah. It has to do with with what I do for work. You have to set your success criteria before you start. And it can't be some nebulous thing. It has to be, we want to do X. And the problem is that their success criteria now in Hollywood and in streaming is to meet those artificial ESG scores, which leads into something else.
Oh yeah,
that is kind of we can't talk about on YouTube.
You'll get a warning for that.
I will get a lot more than that. But if you start out with the goal of trying to make something loyal to the source material, like Peter Jackson has said, and gives fan service, like we saw with Sonic. Remember what happened with Sonic when they had to reshoot the movie? And then what happened? Sonic was... I never played the game. I know it was like a 90s kid thing, but it came out against the big budget movie. No one remembers this. It's 2 years ago after this that thing that was supposed to be for like 10 days that turned into 2 years happened. And it went up against Harley Quinn in the blah, 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 whatever the hell, 18 words of nonsense movie that came out. Well, guess what? Harley Quinn had all these stars in it with strong female empowerment. It got its ass kicked at the box office. Not a little bit, but Sonic, because its goal was fan service and to make the fans happy, became the highest grossing animated game adaptation ever released. How is that lesson lost on them unless their success metrics have nothing to do with audience satisfaction and money and have to do with something else?
There you go.
Say about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was pure genius by the makers of that movie. That's what got them the sequel. You know, to sit there and say, okay, well, the fans are saying that we completely animated Sonic, who's the main character, is in almost every frame of the movie. And then, okay, well, we got to go back and remake it. And then publicly, as they were doing that, apologize to the fans and say, we're going back and we're fixing it.
Yeah.
They owned it. And immediately that got them their box office.
Not only that, but they had the wisdom to see that it also built another generation of kids that are going to buy those video games. I mean, like it's really simple. Treat the customer with respect. I mean, could you imagine Rafe Judkins if he had, instead of threatening all of us to destroy what we loved even more on Twitter, the guy who ruined Wheel of Time, and instead said, I've taken all of your criticism and we're kind of do a soft reboot a little bit in season 2. We strayed too far. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Ryan Johnson saying he made a mistake? Could you imagine Taika Waititi, I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby, going, you know what? This isn't about Taika Waititi. This is about Marvel and all of this history and all of the fans that have loved it. Could you imagine? I mean, it's just like, what the hell happened to the world? I mean, I'm at a loss. I'm ranting.
Fans are forgiving too. So like the Sonic thing was genius because they put it out first and then they got the blowback and they pulled it back and fixed it. If that was planned ahead of time, we're going to put this out, it's going to look really bad. But really, we've got this other movie ready to go and we'll pretend we're going to put this bad one out. We'll swap it. Fans will love us. That's genius. I know it wasn't planned, but you could plan that. And just if Rafe came on and said, you know what, guys, I fucked this up. My bad. I approached it wrong. I want to fix it. We would give him a chance. Mostly, maybe.
No, I agree. But I mean, we covered it in multiple live streams early when I started doing this, and he went out of his way to not just taunt but flaunt what he had done. And I'm gonna make the call here. Payne and McKay, they're gonna do the same thing with the Lord of the Rings. I mean, I think Amazon. I don't think Rafe Judkins did what he did with Wheel of Time without the blessing and maybe even the direction of Amazon to fans responding to what they had done to the Wheel of Time. I'm going to call it here, and if I'm wrong, I will tell you I was wrong when the show comes out. They're going to do the same damn thing. But I'm pretty sure we're going to find some pretty unrecognizable things in Tolkien's world, but entirely relatable and accessible in this current climate, political, pronoun world that we live in now. And that's a real damn shame because they could have made a mediocre fantasy show and done that and have the same results. But this is about the conversation. This is about destroying Western canon and Tolkien. It really is. So hail to you, Daniel. Oh my God, you guys. Zaxx, I'm going to let you take this one real quick. I am going to have you vamp for 30 seconds, please.
You got it. We've got a super chat from Daniel for $2 every time a bell rings, a Judkin swaps a thing. Yep, that's about right. His intentions were bad, which is part of it. But I think that he does what Amazon tells him to do. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with Rings of Power. Is these guys have been put in place because they'll say yes to whatever it is that Amazon decides to push them through on. And I think where this all comes from is when we started hearing the term platform. When platform came out and everything was a platform. So you weren't making a film to entertain fans. It was, I'm being given, because note, it's not earned. They always use the term given. You've been given this platform upon which to spread what? And the what is whatever it is they tell you to spread. And it's not entertainment. That was, I think, one of the first signs that I know I missed initially, but you've been given a platform.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it? Not entertain. Yeah. What kind of film do you want to make? No, it's platform.
Well, look at Ava DuVernay's Watchmen. You know, the one that they said was such an amazing success, and they would have made a second season. Yeah, the TV show, The Watchmen.
That was the worst. That was so bad.
Well, guess what?
Yeah,
It
I know.
achieved another set of objectives. And here's the crazy thing. She has another show coming out. It's an adaptation of a graphic novel. You guys are going to love this. Are you ready for this? They gave this to Ava DeVarnish, whatever the hell her name is. It's a story about America split by a civil war because people don't like the progressive politics going on. And one side of the country are painted as backwards, redneck, conservative, traditional American. Let me put it, one side of the Americans and one side of the current year. Let's just say that. And so Ava DuVernay has taken the character race swapped it, of course. And so it's told from the lived experience of a woman of color in this graphic novel. So it's not going to be what made the graphic novel good. It's going to be Ava DuVernay doing what she did in Watchmen, which is destroying it and making it into The Message, which is just crazy when you think about it.
I made myself watch that show and I still don't know why. Like, I finished it to the end. It was horrible. I don't know why.
I watched one episode. I watched like part of an episode. I'm like, this is just like Star Trek Discovery, where I was like 5 minutes in, I got so angry I broke a remote, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. And that's been as much Kurtzman Trek as I've been able to watch. Now I did watch the Picard trailer, but I'm not going to sit through Picard. I tried Picard for 5 minutes too. It looked dumb. It looked like CSI Picard. It was like bad production quality, bad camera work. And now everybody's talking about Picard season 2, and you can see the shills like on Hollywood Reporter and Den of Geek. And, Picard makes the traditional Star Trek novels of the 70s come to life. And it's like, bullshit. This is, did anybody in chat watch Picard season 2? Nathan, have you seen Picard season 2? I mean, I guess I can't trash a show that I haven't watched. All I know is that there's nothing that would convince me to watch anything Alex Kurtzman does. And then what happened? Star Trek Discovery got renewed. We got Star Trek Strange New Worlds, new show. We got Section 38 or 69 or whatever the hell it is. That's coming out. There's another Star Trek show. It's all in this same broken, not Star Trek universe. Nobody's watching these shows. So why do they
don't forget their animated
made?
Show?
Oh yeah, well,
Lower
whatever.
Decks.
I mean, yeah, it's
worse than Amaranth on G4.
Oh, well, there's
way
two
worse.
of them. There's two of them. There's Lower Decks, and then there's the other one with the kids who were so cool and amazing. They didn't need to go to Star Trek Academy. They didn't need to go to Starfleet Academy. They could just steal a ship or whatever it was. Yeah, what the hell is that one called? I know I blocked those things out because they're so horrifying. So, but look, we got Brahma Bull says Picard number 2. No, I'll take Gary's reviews. I agree with that 100%. And Punkwaddle says shoes were platforms. It's true in the 70s. They really were. Look those up sometimes. Some of them had fish bowls in them. So, and then we got Thunder Sensei 150. You're allowed to like what you like. Says Lower Decks is actually funny though. That's cool. I mean, love what you love. Like, please, this is part of fandom. And even when the Next Generation came out, we used to fight about the Next Generation. We really did, about which episode was good, which wasn't. Were the Ferengi good? Were they not? And there were some bomb episodes in the first couple seasons of Star Trek, The Next Generation. There really were, but we still hung with it. We really did.
That's a good point, though. To sit there and say we argued about episodes that were good and weren't good. In today's environment, all the episodes are just the greatest thing ever. You can't have any shadow or variation of turning at all. It all has to be in line. The next show is the best. The next show is even better than the last best episode. And eventually, all the compliments mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Well, for Fenda Senshi, I've heard that actually from other people who do like Trek, that they didn't mind Lower Decks. You just can't look at it as being another Star Trek product. If you watch it on its own, apparently it's entertaining. So I've heard that from other people. So it's not just you.
No, I've also heard that from other people. And my problem is that I am so gun shy from, Like if they would have a decent Star Trek product and they could make all of these other little spin-off shows, like I wouldn't care. But the fact that the core flagship of this is STD, and then to then take probably one of the most beloved television characters of the 90s, let's be really honest about it, and not only that, redefine the role of Captain from James T. Kirk to Jean-Luc Picard, and then to, in my opinion, deliberately mutilate and destroy him and to make him into some weird embodiment of intersectional feminism fetishism for apologizing for his toxic. I can't even do this. I mean,
But that was Patrick Stewart's idea.
Dumb. It was.
Part of that.
It was.
Yeah.
Which I wonder why. I mean, like what? Why? Why do that? I guess I don't understand why you would do that to your legacy. But he is a thespian. He's an actor. Paycheck.
Yeah, I guess, but I think it's more he wants the pat on the back and
yeah.
Someone
I don't know.
maybe
He wants that transhumanism thing because we can't talk about that either, can we?
No.
Let's do this. The Thunder Sensei 150 says, "LOL. I avoid STD just like any other disease." Well, you, my friend, that's why I love having you in my chats. You are the voice of rationality in this world of woke weirdness. And we've got the Thad that shouldn't be, who is essentially keeping score at a baseball game, and I respect that. So he says that you are the greatest, Salty, to go 60 likes night one. Hail to you. Absolutely. Oh my God, we've got a late breaking super chat from Daniel. You guys are the best. Thank you, God. I'm so honored. This is from Daniel. It's for $10 US. Says modern Trek is akin to going to a somber occasion, like a funeral, in a clown outfit, while using a whoopee cushion and throwing eggs. It's it's obvious attention seeking from people with zero talent. Damn, Daniel, that is dropping. I mean, like I hailed before that. You are spot on. Where's the reverence for the material? Where's the appreciation for what's come before? I absolutely agree on that. And I'm going to kick this back to you guys, to Zaxx and to Nathan, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and drop this thing real quick for you guys.
Now for wrath. Now for ruin and the red dawn.
Hail to you, Daniel. You have been dropping the wisdom tonight. You are another honorary producer for the show. You and everyone else in the chat have been on fire. I am laughing while that awesome Lord of the Rings thing is going. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat.
That's a good one.
Zaxx, what do you think about that?
Well, for me, talking about modern Trek, they had the Star Wars problem with Picard that I noticed pretty quickly, because when he goes to Starfleet, no one recognizes him. I couldn't buy that. I was out.
There should be portraits. There should be ships named after Jean-Luc Picard.
Of course there should be. And people should have heard of Luke Skywalker. Like there's no, in those universes, there's no reason for those people to be anonymous. And if you work in Starfleet, like it's like it would, okay, this is a deep cut, but it'd be like being in the military and not knowing who Douglas MacArthur is in the 50s. Right. Like, you know who that is.
Or Patton. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't buy that. And that was sending a message early on about he's going to be nobody.
Well, he needed to be told about his sheer effing hubris by the admiral. I'm sure that everybody knew who that admiral was because of her chromosomes, you know?
Right.
It's just crazy.
Yep.
What about you, Nathan? What do you think about what Daniel's dropping this ironic wisdom on us here at the close of the show?
It's actually spot on. I mean, I am by no means a Trekkie at all. I've watched some of the movies. I wasn't a big Next Generation fan. I kind of stuck with the earlier movies like Khan and Search for Spock. But but understanding, regardless, the reverence of what Kirk or what Picard would have had in those in those universes, there's no argument with that. Why would people not know who these
Agreed.
people are, especially while they're still alive?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's like we still remember Abraham Lincoln. He's been dead for 160 years.
Exactly.
Well, and Michael Deutsch in the chat says the Picard maneuver, and even he knows about that one. This would have been taught at Starfleet Academy. The Picard maneuver where he was getting his ass kicked in the Stargazer and was in two places at once with the Ferengi. There was a whole episode where the Ferengi were using this like a lighty disco ball to take control of his brain. Everybody knew about the Picard maneuver. And it's just, again, none of these decisions are incidental. This is not incompetence. This is not having the best of intentions and not knowing any better. This is negligence. This is knowing what you're doing is wrong and doing it because it's wrong, because you get something from it. And that to me just pretty much adds up everything you need to know about Kurtzman and about anybody affiliated with J.J. Abrams, in my opinion. So this has been one fun live stream. You guys, we've been going almost 3.5 hours, and that is all thanks to you in the chat. We still have 21 people in tonight. We had some great drop-ins. We had some other YouTubers coming in here. We had Culture Culture Casino. We had Polly dropping in. We had Snowdub. This has been so much fun. And the reason why this channel is getting attention is because of you in the chat. You guys helped drive this channel. You guys made me laugh so hard tonight. You made me think. You drove this entire show. And I am eternally grateful to you. Whether you're a channel member or not, thank you so much. Nico Glock, thank you for joining tonight. Thank you so much to Lyle Hammock, who was on fire again. William 101. And go ahead, man. Manethrin, you dropped something to me in private chat. You go ahead and shout it out too.
Oh yeah, chat. You guys were responsible for about 80% of tonight's show. We had a cut sheet to talk about, and we covered a few of those topics, and you guys just drove the rest of the way. So thank you very much.
No, thank you guys so much. And thank you as ever to the Thad That Shouldn't Be for giving us near autistic real-time data, which I love. No disrespect, sir. I'm just saying, like,
in the best way.
You don't have to do that. And I value it so much. You do. I feel so blessed to have all of your input. Punk Waddle, thank you for modding. Again, Lyle Hammock, William 101, Resurrection 117, Kaylee, everybody Nico Glock, all of my channel members, thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everybody else who was popping off in the chat, including Jaden Hamilton, of course Brahma Bull. I don't want to shortchange you, sir, one of my Wolf brothers. Thank you so much also to Matt R for your input. And if I missed you, it's because I'm 52 years old and we've been going 3.5 hours. No disrespect to anybody. Of course, Thunder Sensei 150, you made on fire tonight. So hail to you, everybody. And again, thank you to the Thad That Shouldn't Be. I'm going to start out and say thank you, first of all, to Nathan, Amanda Manethrin. It's great to have you here. You're not nearly as beautiful and Celtic as Purple Valkyrie, but you made it work somehow. You got that sexy man beard, and you got the Hobbit pipe, and you got the single malts. I'm going to call you out tonight. You, sir, rocked this show. So thank you very much, Nathan. What do you got going on? What's your latest review? Where can people find you, Amanda Manethrin?
I just did a video. What did I do on a trailer? My mind's I'm not quite 52 years old, but apparently Alzheimer's is kicking in early too.
No. You did a great review of Vox Machina. For those of you wondering about that animated show, go to Amanda Manethrin when this is over. Go watch his reviews on Wheel of Time. He is spot on. That's how we found each other. And then we just reached out to each other over YouTube channels, and that's how we started streaming. That's how this works. Just take a chance with somebody. But
yeah, it was the Star Wars trail. That's what it was.
Oh, Kenobi, which is, again, I don't really cover it on this channel, but tell them about that, where they can find you. And
just check out the channel. It's Amanda Manethrin. take a look and just leave comments and stuff, and appreciate it, and and keep coming back here at least every other Thursday when I'm on for the live stream.
We love having Nathan on, and you guys
for more
are
sexy
crazy.
beard time.
Oh, more sexy beard time. It's really the Hobbit pipe. We bring you on for the Hobbit pipe and to live vicariously with your extensive collection of single malt scotches. Brahma Bull calls out Ms. Marvel ? We will get to that. We will get to that, but not in this show. I wanted to keep this a more up and coming show. So, and Nico Glock, you are crazy. My new Wolf brother gives us a $5 super chat. Says, "Great show. I am grinning ear to ear. Thank you so much for that, and I will give you this to close the show out before we go to."
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
I said it last week.
Star Wars.
I know. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Star Wars is like a black tuxedo. It's classic. It never goes out of style, and it looks good on everybody. Hail to you, my new Wolf brother, Nico Glock. Also, again, shout out Punk Waddle for modding tonight. You have been doing a amazing job. Thank you, Zaxx.
Yeah.
Now that you're a big rock star guy, hanging out with all the cool people, where can people find you? What are you working on?
I was already hanging out with the cool people, Corey.
I know you were. That's what I meant.
Okay. So, I'm working on about eight different videos right now. Some of them are G4 related, but most aren't. The ones I want to make really aren't G4 related, but people seem to want to see G4 stuff. So, you got to play Freebird if you're Leonard Skinner. So I've been doing a bit of that. But so please give me a sub. But also, if you're a member or want to be a member of the Wolf Brothers or Wolf Sisters, please follow me on Twitter, KF204. Send me a message, because then we want to add you to our group chat. And that's the big thing, is be a member, because those chats are great. We had an awesome show with the members yesterday.
It was so good. It was so much fun. It really was.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. So we want to give you more, I suppose. And if you have a membership and you're not taking part in that stuff, you're kind of missing out, to me.
Yeah, and Brahma Bull, I caught your comment on there. I was just funning with you. And Brahma Bull, he's been a channel member now for quite a while. He was on fire yesterday. Brahma's Bullpen has his own channel. It covers politics. Please go check out his work. Give him a sub. He's working hard. He also knows his bourbons, and that alone to me is cred for why you should go sub on his stuff. So hail to you. Again, please go check out the Thad That Shouldn't Be, Unbearable 73. Check out what he's doing too. Please go to Manna Manethrin's channel. He is such a good dude. He makes the best chill stream reviews ever. And then, of course, Zaxx's channel you can find by typing ZAXX7, and you will go right to Zaxx, because there's a hell of a lot of Zaxx on YouTube. So
there's a way more Zaxx than you expect.
It's kind of weird. It's weird.
It's weird.
So,
I'm just going to drop one more. I've got one more link I want to put in the chat, and I've just put Brahma Bulls in there. So if you want to follow him, please do. Cool. He's getting rolling here. And one more time for Thad That Shouldn't Be. He's at
Daniel
19.
says, yeah, check this out. Daniel says, I used to feel like Zaxx was approachable, but now he says I'm a little too small potatoes. I think it jumped on me in the chat. So yeah, and Punk Waddle's right. Zaxx knows about the ball pits. He knows where the bodies are buried. You guys,
and Bard, I still want your nudes.
Yeah, and Zaxx, any nudes that go to Zaxx, I see too. So feel free. You guys, this has been one hell of a good time. I want to thank everybody for. God, this was a fun show.
It was.
Thank you guys. It was so much fun. I hope you guys have a really great week, and we look for more videos. I drop them on a near daily basis. Also, we will be dropping woo-woo stuff. We're going to be covering in the news a paranormal event that the Department of Defense is now investigating because of its impact to U.S. servicemen. Everybody loves the woo-woo. You all have a great week. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.